Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
The Texas Rangers will spend their Easter Sunday at Safeco Field. Cole Hamels takes the hill in the series finale on a perfect day for baseball in the Pacific Northwest. Welcome to Rangers Baseball presented by AT&T. A holiday weekend continues here in Seattle at Safeco Field. The sun's going to poke out here eventually. The Rangers and Mariners final game in our three-game series as we celebrate Easter with you on TV and with the fans here in Seattle in the stands. Hope the Easter Bunny was good to you this morning. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nitkowski. Final game of this series. Now, the Rangers have seen some very good pitching in this series, and today we have a pair of starters going in this one, CJ. Both of them have thrown very well, but not necessarily gotten the victories.
Yeah, we talk about wins a lot, and ask a veteran pitcher, wins still matter. So for both Iwakuma and Cole Hamels, they both like to see their first victory. Only one can potentially get it. But how about Asashi Iwakuma, the veteran? We see here him up against the Angels in his last start. You'll see a lot of off-speed from him. Doesn't throw particularly hard, but he knows how to use his fastball when he has to. You see just 2 strikeouts in 6 innings in his last one. And how about Cole Hamels, of course, another guy that is still looking for that first win. We know this about Cole Hamels. It's going to be a lot of those changeups to right-handed hitters today. Same thing with his fastball. Does not throw particularly hard and counts on guys chasing out of the zone. Just a 37% zone rating so far this year. That just means pitches in the strike zone very low for Cole Hamels.
All right, well, if he's going to have success today, this is the guy he's going to have to stop.
Yeah, Kyle Seager is a full power lefty. Now, he does not have a home run yet this year, but he is coming off a season in which he hit 30 home runs. That was a career best from him. Also, career best on base percentage. So Kyle Seager right now trending in the right directions, but we like to keep that 0 on the home runs right where it is.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And of course, this is all going to be about the Rangers offense getting going again, coming into the series easily the hottest offense in all of Major League Baseball. They've been slowed down in the first 2 games of this 3-game series. They hope to get it restarted this afternoon against Asashi Iwakuma and the Seattle Mariners. Is brought to you by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
It is overcast here in Seattle, but still a beautiful, cool, crisp day. We'll take it. A little bit better than it's been the last couple of nights. And one thing that the Rangers have been doing that they did so well a year ago was turning the double play. Their pitchers played a big role, and now we're going to take a look at some of the double plays from this year. And it's all about location of the fastball with runners on base. Here we see Martin Perez with a good fastball exactly where Jonathan Lucroy wants it. Gets himself that ground ball. Nice 5-4-3 from Joey Gallo to Rougned Odor. And it was Mike Housechild yesterday. It was a good sinking fastball just off the plate, but again, exactly where his catcher wanted it. Gets the big 6-4-3 in that situation. But it's not only about the pitchers hitting their spots, as we see Andrew Cashner last night. Same thing, good two-seam fastball down and in, but also some work that has to be done by the middle infield. Here's Andrews to Odor, and look at Mazara right there, barreling in hard, but Odor, great concentration, really strong turn, strong throw. And here we are with the Texas Rangers once again turning double plays at a very high rate. Now let's go down to Emily Jones with our State Farm winning combination.
Yeah, thanks, CJ. At a very high rate, in fact, leading Major League Baseball in double plays with 15. They've had 6 in the last 2 games. I talked to Tony Beasley, the Rangers' third base coach, about why they're so effective. He said, first of all, CJ, as you mentioned, it starts with the pitcher being able to execute the pitch that he wants to get that ground ball. Then it goes to positioning, which can literally change from pitch to pitch within and at bat. After that, it's all up to execution, which the guys have been able to do not only this season, but in seasons past. So a winning combination thus far in the infield in terms of double plays. They would like to cut down on those errors a little bit. We'll talk about that later in the show. But it is first pitch and lineups coming up from Seattle right after this.
Three games in this series. Today, the finale. Rangers trying to get out of here with a win. It has been a struggle these first 2 games against some very good Mariners pitching. Let's take a look at the Southwest batting order for the Rangers. Carlos Gomez leading it off again today. Elvis Andrus for the 2nd game in a row, but for the first time against a right-hander batting in the 2-hole. 6th all-time, of course, Rangers history. Joey Gallo at third base, batting 8th today, and he has started every game at the hot corner, and there's the mound opponent today.
And you see Hisashi Iwakuma and what he'll be featuring today, and this is a full repertoire, and this is a guy that has really gotten away from his fastball even a little bit more than expected. It's a 4 and a 2-seam mix, but he actually rarely throws that 4-seam fastball. It's going to be mostly 2-seamers. You see the slider, the split finger, the curveball, the cutter, just a really big mix of off-speed pitches. Now, it doesn't strike a lot of guys out. So when you see a pitcher who throws a lot of different off-speed pitches but doesn't necessarily have the high strikeout rate, you see that just 4 in 12 innings. What you anticipate is a lot of soft contact if he is on. So there'll be a little bit of pressure on the defense. But when you don't get the big fastball, you usually get weak contact. And take a look here at the Mariners defense. A little bit of a different look than what we saw. This is closer to opening night with the exception of Carlos Ruiz behind the plate, Leonis Martin. And Guillermo Heredia is going to be in left, kind of a part-time starter getting an opportunity here today.
Well, all set to go this afternoon. And Carlos Gomez to get things started. And for Carlos, he walked yesterday in his first at bat. Was pretty patient yesterday, though he did strike out a couple of times. He's been on 3 times in this series. Batting average, though, down at 163 coming into play today. He's ready to go. The signal given to Iwakuma. We are set, and we're playing baseball.
The thing that Iwakuma will do is try to tempt these Rangers hitters to go out of the zone. Jeff Bannister talked about that before the game. This is the approach now with him, especially that split finger that you'll see at the bottom of the zone.
Bouncer, left side of the infield. Seager with time. And that's our first out of the game today.
These guys can be frustrating, especially these type of pitchers, I should say, can be frustrating, especially right now with the Rangers offense struggling a little bit, and there's been back-to-back strong performances from Seattle Mariners starting pitchers. And you said the Rangers want to get out of here with a win, so you got to be careful because Iwakuma is a guy who can take advantage of that anxiety if you're trying to do too much at the plate.
Now the Rangers have had precious few successful innings so far in this series against Mariners pitching. The one run they scored was in the 6th inning on Friday. This one popped foul back out of play. Strike 1 on Andrews. Elvis with the average at 333. 3 home runs, all solo shots, but also 4 doubles, a triple. In fact, he's 3rd in the American League in slugging. And lifts this one into shallow center field. Leonis Martin coming on, 2 away. Martin might have been showing some respect there because he was really angling way more toward right than he was coming in, and then at the end finally did make that turn in.
Well, it's been 2 batters so far and 2 at-bats that have resulted in that weak contact. And Iwakuma, at least through 4 pitches, is exactly where he wants to be.
So he deals with Nomar Mazara now, and Nomar continuing to anchor things in the 3-hole in the lineup. 333 average, but a league best 12 RBIs. And he takes strike 1. Yesterday, one of those rare nights where Mazara was kept completely off the bases. 0 for 3 with 3 groundouts against James Paxton. Paxton was incredible last night for the Mariners. And it's 0-2.
He was, and he really looked like a true ace. You'll never be an ace on this team when Felix Hernandez puts on the same uniform as you do, but James Paxton continues on the pace that he was and has been on, and what we saw from him last night, he is looking like a top of the rotation starter.
The 0-2 to Mazara, and he'll pop this one up left side, foul ground. That's going to be a long run for all parties, and Ruiz able to get there, sliding on his knees to make the play. And it's a 1-2-3 top of the 1st inning for Iwakuma. Rangers hitters, and now we'll take a look what the Seattle Mariners will run out there today at 4-8 this year. Guillermo Heredia leading it off. Mitch Haniger continues to be a real difficult out, not just for the Rangers, but for everybody. Multiple hits in the first 2 games of this series. And then it's Cano and Cruz and Seager in the heart of things for Seattle. Numbers aren't great along that right side there for this Rangers lineup, but they have been pretty good in this series.
Without a doubt, take a look at the pitch arsenal there from Cole Hamels and what he'll be featuring today. That changeup is going to be the go-to pitch to try to get and neutralize these right-handers. He's got 3 lefties in there today, Cano, Seager, and Martin, but it's going to be those 6 righties that'll be seeing a pretty steady diet of changeups.
Corners are in with Heredia at the plate. He has very good speed, not a big bat, and so you always have to be wary of him maybe laying down a bunt, trying to get his way on in that manner. Just 1 for 7 this year at the plate, and the count 2-1.
And here, of course, are the season numbers for Cole Hamels. We talked about it in the open. Has not recorded a win yet, but has thrown the ball pretty well. And even those walks, he's done a really nice job of pitching around them.
This one hit into left field, a base hit for Heredia. And the Mariners have the lead man on in the bottom of the first inning.
Heredia gets a fastball, ends up being down. Not a terrible pitch. Cole was trying to throw that away. Ended up being out over the middle of the plate. Put a good swing on it. Hit it hard, too, to left field.
And now a threat to run. He has not attempted a stolen base yet this year. As we mentioned, does have very good speed, and the first pitch to Haniger is in there for a strike. The Mariners, as a team, have really run the bases aggressively. In fact, they lead the American League in stolen bases. Haniger, multiple hits in each of the first 2 games of this series. Not going, and there's a swing and a miss to make the count 0-2. .292 average for Haniger. 3 home runs you saw a moment ago, 3 doubles as well. He's been getting on at a nearly 400 clip. Hamels with a long look at first. The 2-strike delivery is inside.
Cole Hamels does a nice job there. Purpose pitch 0-2. He wanted to elevate. You see him shaking his head no there, but he still got it in far enough to move Haniger's feet. For me, that still delivers the purpose, which is just letting him know, making him aware that you're going to go inside. You don't want to throw a strike in that 0-2 count. And the idea for Cole is that it's going to open up the outside part of the plate a little bit more, but he's going to try to go back in. He was really dissatisfied with that last one.
This one is shot foul, and we'll set up again at 1-2.
And that's because the general rule of thumb, left-handed pitcher, right-handed batter, when you do go in, you prefer to be belt and up, not necessarily down, but I thought he still accomplished his purpose.
Why not down?
You should want to make sure the guy's leaning back a little bit more, especially his upper body. You know, it's one thing when you move your feet, and we use the phrase move your feet, but the idea of getting him just to lean back so he's not leaning out over the plate, he's not getting too comfortable out there.
Heredia has a nice lead. And he'll draw a throw, and this one gets away from Napoli. So Heredia hops up, and he will stop at second base. Well, Hamels not happy. There was a second there where I thought he might have picked him off.
Looks like a pretty good move, and we'll see where the throw ultimately ended up. But this came from Jonathan Lucroy. Is a good move right there. Nice job by Cole. I don't see where the throw went. Yep, over. And we saw this in Anaheim as well, where you kind of get that in between for Mike Napoli, where there's nowhere he can go because the runner gets in his way. And yes, Heredia flinched a little bit, and they may have had a chance to get him. It wasn't a bad throw. It's just that it's right at the runner and the ball, Mike Napoli's glove, and the runner all kind of come to the same place at the same time, and it's just a difficult play to make for a first baseman.
Throwing error charged to Hamels. Heredia now in scoring position, and the 1-2 pitch. And this one lifted in the air, left center field. Gomez coming over from center, 1 away.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by Demontron RV. And you just saw Carlos Gomez there in center field making that play. And I was looking at my lineup card today, and I don't know if yours says this, but my team-provided lineup card had Shin-Soo Choo playing first base today.
Oops.
That is not true. That's Mike Napoli. And I looked and I said, Choo's never played first, I was pretty sure, throughout his career, which he is not. So rest assured that that is the defense you want to see out there, and no Shin-Soo Choo playing first base. You have that on yours or no? Well, you use your own little personal bucket.
I was going to say, I did not notice. Yeah, there you go.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I got mine downstairs where they must have had it correct.
Yeah, maybe I thought it was April Fool's Day and trying to play some jokes on me. Shin-Soo Choo is the DH today.
Well, Robinson Cano takes a strike. Cano at 213. See the 1 home run, 8 RBIs. Still very early in the year. Yesterday, he reached on a really very big error in the 6th inning. That kind of turned the game. Looked like he might well have been doubled up in that 6th inning in a scoreless contest. The hole here 0-2.
This ball is hit pretty well, but I think Elvis would tell us that he believes he could make that play, turn that double play. And we knew the way that game was going, it was going to be something like that for a team to break through, whether it be an error, some kind of broken bat hit, or big situation, whatever it was going to be. It was going to be probably one particular defining moment, and that happened, unfortunately, for the Rangers in the 6th inning.
Time called. Already out at second base. He reached on a base hit, moved up on an error. He's in scoring position for the heart of this order now. Cano has, aside from that moment last night, not played a huge role offensively in this series. Bouncer right to Odor, and they're 2 away. Already at 90 feet away, but they're 2 out. Here comes Nelson Cruz. Well, they're celebrating 40 years of this franchise's history in 2017. I love the unis today. Great look. These are their alternate uniforms in 2017, and the blue and the gold takes me back to the early 80s. It's a little homage, I guess, to previous looks that they have donned here in Seattle.
You got the off-white as well.
Strike one on Cruz, who checks in at 209.
Is that an ode to the Seattle Pilots, possibly? Put you on the spot, huh, buddy?
I don't know. What, with the off-white, you mean?
Or just even that, yeah, that kind of color scheme. I'm not sure.
0-2, so Hamels, good job of getting ahead of a very dangerous hitter for the Mariners.
Yeah, I think they did use that color scheme, just kind of looking at some of their older uniforms. It's kind of the same color scheme of the old Brewers unis.
Yeah. 2-strike pitch. Broken bat, blue out to short left. Andrews can't get there, and neither can Profar. Heredia comes in from third. Mariners lead 1-0.
Boy, tough break for Cole Hamels. What a great pitch, great location. He did everything he wanted to do against Nelson Cruz, including putting himself way ahead of the count. Gets that cutter hard in, right in on the hands, and shatters Nelson Cruz's bat, but unfortunately, Cruz strong enough to get that ball into the outfield.
Well, that's a killer. So a run in, 1-0, and now Kyle Seager. Seager batting 5th today, left-handed hitter, and the pitch to him right in there for a strike.
I'll take that back. Look at more of a curveball, which even made it all the more surprising. You don't see that too often. That one registered on the inside edge data as a curveball. You don't break guys' bats like that on curveballs too often. It's usually the hard cutter, maybe sinker off the end of the bat. Very unusual.
This fastball a little tight, and it's 1-1 on Seager. For the pitcher, though, this has got to drive you crazy.
Man on third, you know you have a tough middle of the lineup. You've handled Robinson Cano well. You're making your pitches. You get way ahead 0-2 to Nelson Cruz. Throw a pitch that he has no chance of squaring up, but then somehow it turns into a base hit and an RBI and the first run across the board. It will drive you nuts every time.
Cruz, not much speed over there at first. Seager with that open stance, and he takes it outside. It's 3-1. Seager's been a good one. Still looking for that first home run of the year. There's that open stance.
See that a little bit more from Joey Gallo. Nomar Mazara's got the big wide open stance, and what Joey Gallo has told us for him is he likes being open because he feels like he can see the ball a little bit better, see the pitcher a little bit better. It certainly has paid dividends for him. Pitch recognition has been really strong. Walk rate has been great. Makes a lot of sense. You know, just the issue you have when you're that far open, or you worry about, is do you have movement? A lot of movement. Obviously, that foot's got to come back. It's not going to finish there. It's just where you start. Eventually, you even up with the pitcher as the pitch comes in.
3-2 pitch lifted out into left field, and Profar tracks it down to end the inning. Mariners scratch out a run, though, a gift, thanks to the error.
We're going to get Mike Napoli when we get back here in the top of the second inning.
Well, a 1-0 Mariners lead right out of the gate this afternoon. And we will see the middle of the order. Napoli, Odor, and Jonathan Lucroy in the second inning against Hisashi Iwakuma. Iwakuma rocks back at his first pitch a little bit low.
I don't want to pick on the Seattle Mariners PR department, but now looking a little bit closer at my scoreboard, they also have Carlos Ariz in center field today and Leonis Martin behind the plate. Well, it's Sunday for sure.
1-1 to Napoli. That's why you know, can't trust anybody. Napoli at 146, a couple of home runs. And shoots this one the other way foul for strike two.
Mentioned how Jeff Bannister talked about Iwakuma and what he expected to see today and what the approach would be. There's a stat that they keep that's called O swing percentage. Not to overwhelm you with a bunch of boring numbers, but basically what it tells you is how often do hitters go out of the zone and chase your pitches outside the zone. That's what the O stands for. Iwakuma, career low right now at 28%, which means he hasn't been fooling guys nearly as much as he has in the past.
Napoli sends this one high in the air down in that left field corner. But enough room down there for Heredia to make the play for out number one. Now get ready. The first Throwback Thursday will be April 20th. The Rangers and Royals getting together. First 10,000 fans will receive a Papa John's Texas Rangers Throwback Thursday collector pin. And on this date only, fans will also get a replica 1972 Rangers cap. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS.
And that's what he was so worried about with the Rangers, making sure that they don't give in to that, because he's not throwing nearly as many pitches in the zone either, but also hitters have not been chasing out of the zone.
Yeah, talking about Banny and the plan
Yes.
today he likes to say, bring Iwakuma back into the strike zone.
And I've heard people criticize that phrase before. And you say, well, you know, bring a guy up in the zone. Well, obviously you cannot force the pitcher to throw the ball where you want it, but what that means is you stay off pitches that are just below the zone. If you can be disciplined enough to stay away from chasing anything outside of the zone, then that does force the pitcher to bring it up a little bit and throw more strikes. Now, if he's painting at the knees in the zone all day, well, there's nothing you do about that.
Upstairs to Odor, 1-1. Well, Rugi got off to the great start back at home. The average has dipped now to 209. Still with the 3 home runs, the 8 RBIs. Iwakuma's 1-1. It looks like they're trying to stay up against Odor in this at bat.
We saw that with Paxton. Obviously a much different looking fastball, but even Felix at times elevating against Rougned Odor. When you get ahead with those 2 strikes, you like to tempt him. That seems to be the game plan, a lot of what we've seen so far this year.
Well, 1 away, nobody on. The pitch on the way to Odor, and he'll shoot this one out to left field. Well struck. Heredia didn't get a good read. He's back. It's over his head. That one bounces off the wall. Odor will have an easy double in the 2nd inning.
This is a nice swing and a nice approach from Rougned Odor. You mentioned it. Heredia actually took a couple of steps in first. Check this out here as he reads this ball. First of all, good swing going the other way, not trying to do too much. Short to the ball, really nice right there from Rugi. But watch Heredia. He's going to come in a little bit first, realize that ball was hit harder than he thought. And that's how come it ended up getting over his head. Because we've seen a lot of balls, I feel like, in the series that look like they come off the bat pretty good, but have kind of died. They haven't carried the way that we thought they might off the bat. Certainly not what we saw in Anaheim, what we've seen at home so far this year. But that one was stung.
Well, it's a lot hotter today. It's like 55 degrees here. That ball really carrying now. Here's Jonathan Lucroy, and he takes a strike. Man, what was it when we opened this? It was 50 degrees at game time on Friday, and that didn't last long. Got into the 40s for the remainder of that game. Yesterday, a little better, but still pretty cool. Today, they're saying we could get into the 60s later on this afternoon. 226 average for Lucroy. 1 home run so far. Look out. That one got him. And Lucroy heads to first.
Well, fastball here that gets away from Hisashi Iwakuma, trying to go in. He had got some pretty good run on his 2-seamer, but he got under that one. That's why it stayed up and flat and running a lot more than he anticipated.
All right, so now a couple of base runners in the 2nd inning.
Now that's a situation, unfortunately, that could work out into Iwakuma's favor. He has been very good at inducing left-handed hitters to ground into double plays, 2nd highest percentage since the start of last year.
He does have Chu up there. Chu dropping down to 7th in the order this afternoon. But he hits this one in the air. High and deep to right field. Haniger back, and that thing is gone. A massive home run for Shin-Soo Choo. And the Rangers lead 3-1.
You cannot turn a double play on an absolute bomb that Shin-Soo Choo just hit right there, and he was all over a first pitch. How about the aggressiveness here from Choo, not waiting around, not going to let that little breaking ball roll over for a strike, and it was a 72-mile-an-hour curveball that Iwakuma threw right there. But nice job by Shin-Soo Choo to go ahead and jump on the first one, not let that count get too deep. A lot of times pitchers think they'll be able to get that first strike, especially from a very patient hitter like Shin-Soo Choo. We know how he is with the on-base percentage. Not in that at bat, not in that situation. He jumps all over a first pitch breaking ball. Take a look at this, trying to go away, just kind of a little flip me over, came back over the plate a little bit. He hammered that ball.
There was a moment there I wondered if it might get up into that club level. The pitch to Gallo misses. It's 2-0. That thing was touched off. First home run of the year for Chu. And only the second time that the Rangers have led in this series. A little roller, squibbed foul, and Gallo lost his bat on that one. He'll have to go find a new one. Barrel sliced lengthwise on that little hit. It's a break you see more and more now, kind of a transverse crack in that bat from the end of the barrel down toward the handle, whereas it used to be, you just break him in half.
Yeah, kind of an unusual break, almost one that really worked to Joey Gallo's advantage. The shift right now really heavy here. Look at where Robinson Cano is playing. He got a ball in there. Last night we've seen him do that a couple of times, and so they're even shifting the second baseman even further along. But man, the left side, there is so much room over there right now for Joey Gallo.
Hits this ball hard, foul down the right side, out of play. It's 2-2.
Now we've seen Iwakuma pitch Joey Gallo in, right? They have the shift on. You and I have talked about this. We are seeing some teams who'll use the shift. Look at all that room from Kyle Seager, who's playing basically straight up shortstop right now. I'll continue to go in on Joey Gallo. But what I was going to say was we've seen where we saw it's in Anaheim. Heavy shift, throw a pitch away. Guy hits a ground ball to the left side and almost, nobody there. So what's the point of pitching away? So here's Joey Gallo, and what you've seen he has done so far this year is hits by direction. You can see why the heavy shift is on.
And he strikes out swinging. 2 gone in the second inning. And that'll bring up Jurickson Profar. You mentioned earlier Iwakuma, not a big strikeout guy. That's not exactly how he gets it done. We've been talking about him maybe trying to get some ground balls, a double play even potentially in this inning. For whatever reason, he has had more success with the strikeouts against the Rangers, though. And he gets his first of the afternoon against Gallo as he runs one inside to Profar for ball 1.
Well, he does have the kind of stuff that lends itself to swings and misses against power hitters, right? So if you get guys like Carlos Gomez, Joey Gallo, the big swing, Mike Napoli, big power hitters. No, Nap wasn't here last year, but just those are the kind of hitters that probably play well into what he does.
There's a base hit into right center field for Profar. And so Jurickson aboard, and it will turn the lineup over. Gomez coming up for the second time today. We're only in the second inning.
And this ball is smoked, and actually a pretty well located pitch from Iwakuma. Did exactly what he wanted to do. Credit Jurickson Profar right there by taking that fastball and hitting it hard. Now the thing about the Iwakuma fastball, it's got some good movement. It is not hard. That pitch was 84 miles an hour. He is one of the slowest starting pitchers in Major League Baseball going back to last year. The fastball is averaged just under 86 miles an hour. That is the 3rd worst among qualified starters.
Ball 1 to Gomez. There's your strikeout to walk ratio for Iwakuma. And versus the Rangers, almost 4 1/4 strikeouts per walk, and highest all time against the Rangers. So he's been stingy. But I guess that would also say that he's in the zone a lot against the Rangers.
He is, and he's been in the zone really against all of his opponents. So far this year, the walks have been a little bit higher, but it's really too high to look at the rate stats for 2017. So you look at the rest of his career, and he's walked less than 2 batters per 9 innings. 1.9 is that rate, which is excellent. But that strikeout to walk ratio that we showed against the Rangers, slightly better than what he has done against the rest of the league, where he's been about 3.9.
Up high.
It's good discipline right there from Gomez, because again, you saw the velo there. It's 85 miles an hour and it's up. It looks like a beach ball coming in, and we know how aggressive Carlos is.
Profar's got a nice little lead over there at first base. Not going any place, and Gomez pops this one back our direction. Not a play.
Velo, of course, is
Velocity.
short for velocity. I don't want to throw you off with the lingo, Dave. The kids say
very
these
hip,
days.
man. It's very hip.
It is what the kids say.
Is that right? Kids actually use velo?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Probably.
Profar again. Digging in a little bit.
Good time to run.
Holding him.
Good time to run right here. What they will try to take advantage of, I believe, the Texas Rangers. Again, we talk about Iwakuma, the lack of fastball usage. What you saw earlier today was the four-seam, the two-seam, and also the cutter. But if he's trying to finish a hitter, he loves going to that split. The other off-speed pitches that he has below the zone, so those are great pitches to try to steal on.
Tough perhaps for Ruiz to handle back there. Not going. The pitch is outside. It's a full count on Gomez.
There's a good example of one right there that finishes below and off to the side there. Split finger.
Well, if Gomez can coax his way to first base, it would get Elvis Andrus up in the inning with a couple of men on. 3 runs already in on the Chu homer. There goes Profar, and this one spoiled by Gomez. Hey, let's head down to the field, check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, and something I don't think I've ever heard before. I talked to Jerks and Profar today before the game, and he said to start the season he almost felt too good. And he was seeing the ball so well that it caused him to react early and reach for things that he shouldn't reach for. So he said he's feeling like he's settling in a little bit more, but I don't know that I've ever heard someone feeling too good to start the season. But he said that that's what he identified as the problem early on.
That's a first for me too, CJ.
Yeah, I know nobody's ever said that about you. You're right.
There's another foul right back at you for being rude.
I think what he's trying to say, and it is, I've never heard it phrased that way either, but basically saying feel so good that you almost feel like you could hit anything. And then you have to be a little bit careful when you're locked in that you get so excited and then you start maybe going after some pitches that you shouldn't be going after, but your confidence is so high. Look, I can get that. I can get to that fastball down and away on the corner first pitch, where in reality you should probably be letting that pitch go by. So I get what he's saying. It makes sense, but I had never heard it phrased that way.
Going again, the 3-2 pitch, and a swing and a miss. Gomez down on strikes, and it ends the top of the second inning. But the Rangers get on the board after a couple of homerless nights. Shin-Soo Choo gets in the act in the second, his first of the year. Largest lead in this series as we take a look at our AT&T upcoming pitching matchup tomorrow. AJ Griffin back to his old haunts in Oakland against Jarrell Cotton, who was pushed back a day. Everybody was in that A's rotation. They were rained out today in Oakland. We get going here in the bottom of the second inning. Taylor Motter starts things off for Seattle.
Good opportunity here for Cole Hamels as he gets the bottom of the order. Gave up that run in the bottom of the first. The Rangers gave him 3. This is a good kind of typical inning. Keep your pitch count down. Try to get through this bottom pretty quickly.
Well, in particular, too, Iwakuma really worked in that second inning. 28 pitches in that second inning. Love to get him right back out to the mound as quickly as possible. 2-1 the count on Motter. Uh-oh. Come on, ball girl. Well, Hamels has pitched well in this early part of the season. This is 3rd start of the year. Check swing foul. Squares it at 2-2. Hamels has taken a pair of no decisions this year, despite leaving both starts in a position for the win. Last time went 7 very good innings in Anaheim, giving up just a run on 4 hits. It's 2-2. Motter fouls it straight down to stay alive.
Yeah, that speaks to some of the bullpen issues that the Rangers have been having here early on, and it's all part of the game. That's the first time Cole Hamels has gone through that, where he's pitched well, deserved to win, didn't happen. He's been there, done that plenty of times, and the bullpen seems to be starting to kind of get straightened out a little bit. You see Matt Bush down there. Certainly will be good to see him back on the mound again. He is available. He was available yesterday, but ideally they didn't want to use him. Good chance I think that we will see him today.
Now a full count on Motter. Jeffress was down yesterday as well. A payoff pitch, that's ball 4, and so Motter will head down to first. Well, you talk about starting a shutdown inning. And the one thing you really want to avoid is that walk, but now Hamels will endeavor to work around that with the 7th place hitter, Danny Valencia, coming up.
Interesting choice there. It's some respect from Cole Hamels to Motter that he would go with a full count changeup. I know it's his go-to pitch. I know it's a strong one for him. I know he's comfortable throwing it in any count. But that just gives you an idea of how they feel about Motter, who has swung a very good bat here to start the season.
First pitch to Valencia. That one right in there for a strike. Valencia, you can see the numbers not very good for him. He did have a triple yesterday. Walked in the opener on Friday. Motter with a modest lead. Not going anywhere, and it is 1-1 to Valencia. Valencia, a guy they feel like gives him some versatility here in Seattle. They can use him on the corners in the infield, on the corners in the outfield. We've seen him logging some time at first base in this series. 1-1. He's down low.
Hamels 19 double plays induced last year. 19 the year before as well. 2015, certainly capable. It's a pretty good hitter. Danny Valencia can be pretty aggressive. I think that's what we saw Cole trying to do in those last couple of pitches, throwing something down and away, trying to get him to bite, swing over the top half of the baseball.
Runner going. The 2-1 pitch. That one is popped foul and heads out of play. So
that's why Scott Service putting Motter in motion. I think he's probably thinking the same thing.
See Service, his second year as the manager here in Seattle, won 86 games last year, and they went right down to the wire in terms of that wild card chase. And I think the spirit's very high coming into this year. Made some additions in the offseason, and they feel like they're poised to make some noise in the West. Bouncer up the middle. Andrews gloves it, goes to the bag himself, on to first for the double play. So a 6-3 twin killing, just as you ordered. And calls to mind our Kubota Power Stats. Power Stats today brought to you by Kubota. How about this? Well, runners on base. Cole Hamels, 118 batting average against. A massive improvement on last year's numbers for him. 248 average with runners on base. Very early.
That is early. That is absurdly low. But what that tells you so far with Cole Hamels is when he's gotten himself into a little bit of trouble, a veteran pitcher making pitches when he has to make them and gets himself out of trouble. Well, we've seen a lot of that from him and from a couple other guys. Martin Perez, I think, has kind of been down that path as well, making big pitches and in situations where he has needed to. But 118 probably not going to hold. It's a pretty impressive number. You never know. I'd go wire to wire with a number like that. That would be extremely impressive.
Here's Ruiz. 2 for 8 so far this season. But he's ahead here, 3 balls, no strikes. Ruiz and Hamels, former teammates back in Philadelphia. Former battery mates, and is now 3-1.
Yeah, that's always a strange feeling. There's one thing about facing your former teammates. You are facing a guy who has seen everything, every trick you have in your bag, and he knows your tendencies. It can really mess with your head. Start getting out of your game plan, doing things you usually wouldn't do.
So it's definitely something you're thinking about out there.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, you have a great relationship with your catcher. You're talking all the time. How do you like to get certain guys out, certain situations, and when you're going well, what's working, when you're not, all of it. Carlos Ruiz knows every single secret that Cole Hamels has, and he has seen thousands of pitches that he's thrown.
Well, the payoff on the way, and Hamels gets him looking. A high strike call granted by Mark Carlson, and Ruiz down on strikes, 2 in the second.
Well, advantage or not, Cole Hamels throws a great pitch here. Fastball up over the plate, maybe the top of the zone. Carlos Ruiz kind of hoping he would get a walk. Didn't happen.
We head to the 3rd inning this afternoon in Seattle. Cole Hamels, nice job. First strikeout of the afternoon a moment ago on his old catcher, Carlos Ruiz. And Nomar Mazara will be due up second this inning in our TXU Energy power player to watch. How about those numbers against Iwakuma? Best for Mazara against any pitcher against whom he has had at least 10 at-bats.
Yeah, that'll be a good one to watch, and without even looking, I would guess that's because he's been good on those off-speed pitches that we talked about, the split finger, using off field. We've seen that from Nomar Mazara so far this year in general.
1-0 pitch, and that one skips away from Ruiz. It's 2-0.
Got a little note for you. So we just did that Kubota power number, right? That we did with Cole Hamels, that 118, that unbelievable batting average with runners on base. Any idea who led the league last year in that number?
Batting average against
with runners on base. Time's up.
Okay, give it to me.
Yu Darvish.
No kid.
166 batting
Wow.
average against. That's why we say the 118. Pretty tough to be able to keep that up, but it was a Ranger last year who led all of Major League Baseball. Let's hope it's a Ranger again this year.
2-1 to Andrews. And he shoots this one down the left field line. If it stays fair, it's trouble. That's a long strike. Nice play, you. Here's the guy with the bare hands who make the play. Dude with the gloves like, wait, but I brought my glove. Oh, it's a guy. It's my play.
I wouldn't really get in the way of a guy with that kind of beard. You know he's comfortable going barehanded. Now, he didn't catch it clean. One-hopped it, but he did one-hand it.
Oh, well played.
I'm impressed, too, when you see fans that go matching uni, find out what the team's wearing that day.
Oh, yeah. It takes a little effort. This one
the hat's not right. And listen, it's asking a lot. He's got the Trident hat, which I believe is the throwback, if I'm not mistaken.
But he could have, I mean, it could have just been a good guess, right?
Yep.
Like maybe that's what he did there. Maybe it was just hedging anyway.
I'd like to give him a little bit more credit than that.
Okay.
It's possible that he just guessed.
Yeah.
But I think he knows, right? Because usually Sundays, if I'm not mistaken, that's what they wear here.
3-2 pitch, and that one bounced to third. Good backhand stop, Seager. And he takes care of Andrews. One away. All right, let's take a Chevy game break and send it back to Dana Larson in the studios. Yeah, that was a weird one. Thanks, Dana. We got that note early that they were not going to play today in Oakland due to inclement weather. Nomar Mazara stands in here for the Rangers and hammers one out to right field, a base hit. So he continues his success against Iwakuma.
And the Mariners were, outside of what they were doing with Robinson Cano, for the most part, were playing him straight up. This is a pitch that was supposed to be away, finishes over the middle of the plate, right where Nomar Mazara likes it. And pretty much any hitter for that matter.
Well,
down the middle fastballs at 85, 86 are very desirable.
So he's on now for Mike Napoli.
It's actually a split at 80 miles an hour. Didn't do as much.
Well, not much of a lead for Mazara. Iwakuma gives him a look anyway. And Napoli takes strike one. Hey, you know, back to this guessing or planning on the uni down there.
Yeah.
I mean, not for nothing. This is the first Sunday home game of the year for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You mean for him? You're.
Yeah. I mean,
they know though. If there's a steady trend that they've announced, good fans know.
this one off the handle, a bloop into right field. It drops in, base hit. Mazara got a good read. He'll end up at third base on the Napoli single.
We'll go back to what Nelson Cruz did in the first inning. Shattered his bat, RBI single. Mike Napoli will take that one. Did not hit it particularly hard. You see this pitch, look, supposed to be down and away, ends up being up and in. Iwakuma has missed some spots this inning so far, and we know Mike Napoli is strong and strong enough to muscle this ball into right field. And good job by Nomar. He knew right away. And that's why it's so important when you're standing on base, you turn around, you look at where the outfielders are, where everybody's playing. You know, if you're on one of the corners, your coaches will tell you as well, but it's really on you to make sure you know where everybody is so that as soon as the ball's hit, you'll have a pretty good idea whether or not anybody would have any chance at catching it. Nomar knew it wasn't going to happen. That ball was going to get down, and he easily goes first to third.
So another good inning coming together here. Rangers got 3 in the second inning. It was a 2-3 run homer. Now a couple of base runners for Rougned Odor. Rookie had the double in the second inning to start that rally. Watches this one down low.
There's a short guy up there, huh? Come on.
The glove is kind of all over the place right now as Ruiz is trying to rein Iwakuma in. He does not have the kind of stuff where he can afford to miss spots. He wanted that cutter up and in, and finishing down over the plate. Rangers may have an opportunity to add on.
Iwakuma's 1-0. And this one is popped up. Back of second base. Modern makes the play, and there are 2 gone. Modern sporting that Jeff Spicoli hairdo. Hey, don't miss the Toadies at a post-game concert on Saturday, April 29th. Stick around after the Rangers-Angels matchup at 6:15 for this show, presented by Budweiser. Go to texasrangers.com/concerts for game tickets and for information on how you can see the Toadies concert from the field.
I want to make sure we keep everybody included so they understand the Jeff Spicoli reference. We are getting to that age, buddy, where some people may not know who Jeff Spicoli is. Of course, the Sean Penn character from one of the greatest movies ever made, in my opinion, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. If you haven't seen
Everybody knows Spicoli.
See it. You would like to think, but
a game of adjustments. That's a nice play made by the ball girl down there after a misplay earlier. Yeah, there's Spicoli. So like if I'm here and he's here,
now you're really going to leave some people out. Isn't it our time?
it's our time. There you go. Nice job, young lady. It's Mazara at third base, Napoli at first.
Oh, yeah.
And that one a little bit tight on Lucroy. We were talking about the Nomar Mazara numbers against Iwakuma a little bit earlier. Look at those. Lucroy, he was hit by the pitch in the second inning. Didn't think anything of it. Iwakuma was trying to come in, just kind of grazed him, went down to first. The more I think about it, for Iwakuma, that was a win. Lucroy has just hammered him in his career. 1-2 the count. Lucroy could use a little break. A .226 average coming into play today. Just the 1 home run. This inning, a couple of base hits for the Rangers. They haven't had many opportunities in the first 2 games. Now today certainly has a much different feel than Friday and Saturday. But you do want to take advantage early when you have a starter on the ropes. And Iwakuma is leaning against him at the moment. 1-2. Breaking ball, and that one served out to center field. Martin comes on, and he can't get there. Lucroy singles home Mazara, and it's 4-1 Rangers.
what a nice at bat here by Jonathan Lucroy. He was fooled on this off-speed pitch that was down, but he does a good job at least of keeping the hands back. It's like a slider curveball actually, but see, he got it way out front, but he did a good job of staying back enough to be able to poke that ball in center field in the RBI situation. It was a 68-mile-an-hour curveball. Slow curveball down. Most hitters in baseball are going to be out in front of that pitch.
Well, Lucroy now 5 for 6 in his career against Iwakuma. Here's Chu. He had the big home run in the second inning. First of the year for Chu. And he takes it in, ball 1. I didn't see the distance on Chu's home run earlier. I know it was deep. He's got first and second at the moment. Now just shy of 400 feet apparently. 393 is what we're getting from StatCast. The 1-0 pitch. He'll shoot it the other way this time. It's starting to curl away down that left field line, but it drops in, and that'll be extra bases. Napoli is in. Lucroy on his heels. He'll score. 2 runs on the double by Chu. 6-1 Rangers.
That ball hung in the air for a long time. Now Heredia had to go a long way to get it. You see this pitch pretty well located down and away. Shin-Chu stays on it, but look where Heredia is. Straight up, maybe shaded a little bit to center field, but he had a long way to go. At that point, he's sliding more kind of self-preservation. Doesn't want to run into the wall. He didn't have a chance at catching that ball. And well placed here. I mean, yeah, this is not like a slide and attempt to catch it. This is a slide so I don't run into the wall at full speed. And takes a nice big bounce, and Jonathan Lucroy easily scores from first base with 2 outs.
So Chu out there in scoring position now. Gallo struck out in the second inning. He's 0 for 1. And Iwakuma comes after him. This one is popped straight up in the air to left field. Already a battling. I'd say the sun. There's no sun up there.
The glare.
The glare. And he makes the play. 3 more runs are in. Rangers with a big early lead. As we get after it here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And we remind you, Fox Sports Supports proud to team up with Girls on the Run and their dedication to empowering young girls and instilling confidence through running. Learn more about how you can get involved as a volunteer or a participant at the upcoming Girls on the Run 5K in your area by visiting foxsportssupports.com. Well, Chu's having a big day. He's driven in 5 of the Rangers' 6 runs, and now Cole Hamels faces Leonis Martin for the first time this afternoon.
Hamels did not like that call. Wanted to make sure and confirm with the home plate umpire Mark Carlson where that was. Sometimes it's not even that you're really asking the question because you don't know. It's kind of a way to kind of sneak in there a little bit subtly and be like, I disagree with your call. Did you really think that was down?
That's really not that.
And he said, no, it's kind of in. Yeah.
You pitchers aren't as clever as you think.
Oh, we're pretty smart, buddy. Running the world, especially us lefties. Ruling the world.
2-1 the count to Martin.
And I will tell you this, in full sarcastic form, guys will do that one too, where they'll say, they know he called it in. And they'll be like, oh, was that down a little bit? Like completely knowing that he called it inside, because we're also kind of jerks a little bit.
2-2 now the count.
And then you give the surprise face. Oh, you thought that was in? Oh, I thought you thought that was down. Really? Wow. Okay. Probably not a smart play, though.
It's a similar tactic you may have once tried with your wife.
No. Wait a minute.
It's a tactic people use. Ask the question with the obvious answer.
Oh, okay.
2-2 from Hamels. Uh-oh. Martin on a hip, and Hamels not happy about that. He puts some speed over there at first base now. And the leadoff man has gotten on all 3 innings for Seattle.
Yeah, and he absolutely realizes it right away. And the regret, you get the big lead here. Team has put some runs on the board, and you certainly don't want to give the Mariners any free bases. And Cole Hamels reacts. You see where Jonathan Lucroy can even see it from there. He's actually trying to go outside and missed in. That's where sometimes if you're aiming that pitch and not letting it go, it's going to miss on the other side of the plate.
Oh, yeah, they've They've been targets in this early part of the season here in the American League. Mariners have gotten some free base runners out of that very thing. As Heredia takes strike one from Hamels. Heredia singled in the first inning. Just his second hit of the year. 2 for 8 now.
So I've been telling you, teasing you a little bit the last couple of days, that I've had some Guillermo Heredia little nugget for you that I thought was interesting. So you see that he bats right-handed, throws left-handed. A rarity in baseball. There are currently only 2 major leaguers out of the 750 that are on the field. Well, I guess I should say less than that. Position players that do that. That swing right-handed but throw left-handed. And in the past 50 years, there have only been 25 players in the last 50 years that bat right-handed and throw left-handed. Do you know who the greatest batting right, throw left player was of all time? There's only one really, really good player that has done that.
Little tapper left side. Tough play. No one's play. And Heredia is on with his second hit of the afternoon. No, I mean, I couldn't even guess. I can't tell you who that might be.
First of all, real quick on this Cole Hamels play. Now, he went ahead and picked the ball up knowing, or threw his glove out there knowing he had 0 chance. I don't think Joey Gallo would have had much of a play, but you do give him an opportunity. At that point, it does not make a lot of sense for Cole Hamels to throw his glove. You see Joey Gallo had the bare hand out. It would have taken a great play. We've seen Adrian Beltre make that play tons and tons of times. So he put his glove out there, I think, probably more in frustration. The answer to the question,
yes.
The great Ricky Henderson.
Oh, no kidding.
After that, there's a huge drop off of Cody Ross is maybe the next big leaguer, Ryan Ludwig after that. So yeah, Ricky Henderson, the only real great that our game has seen. Throw righty.
Right-handed.
Yep. Excuse me. Hit righty, swing lefty. Nope. Swing righty, throw lefty.
There you go.
That one.
No, that's an odd little tidbit. As Haniger 0 for 1 steps in. How many in the history did you say? Like,
well, I just went back to the last 50 years. So back to 1967, I looked, and there was only 25 players in that time.
Up high, 1-1 to Haniger. When you say look, you flip through your baseball reference.
Yeah, I just counted. No, I went off the top of my head. The last 50 years, I went through the rosters. I have them all memorized. No, stats pass, buddy. That's where it's at.
That's great. Of course, already it used to be a switch hitter. He was a switch hitter in Cuba, and then gave it up to focus on being a right-handed hitter. This ball hit well by Haniger. Out to left center field. Deep part of the ballpark, and gone. It just kept carrying. 4th home run of the year for Haniger. That one good for 3 runs.
Well, this is a changeup from Cole Hamels, and as we always say, watch the glove. Wanted it down, that ball stepped up and sat up over the heart of the plate. Mitch Haniger, who has been swinging a very good bat here for the Seattle Mariners so far this season, did not miss it, drove it, and there's going to be some frustration for Cole Hamels on that because the hit by pitch, I think probably shouldn't have happened. The little dribbler ground ball, nothing you can do about it. You know, it's the one bad pitch, the one changeup, but that cost him 3 runs.
And breaking ball in there for a strike to Cano. Yeah, amazing. You know, even in just today's game, you look back and Heredia scored in the first inning on the Cruz base hit, but really only because of a throwing error that allowed him to get into scoring position in the first place.
And the shattered bat on the hit too, right? Yeah. He executed his pitch and got a shattered bat.
And this has been a classic hard luck outing this afternoon for Cole Hamels. He's still working with the lead, 6-4. And comes 0-2 to Cano. That one misses for a ball. Boy, Haniger, what a huge lift he has been for the Mariners, and what has otherwise been a really frustrating start for Seattle. 2-2 the count. I mean, if not for Heredia, or the injury to Gene Segura, boy, the Mariners would be in some real trouble. But he has stepped in and been a huge, huge boost. The 2-2 pitch. And that one fouled off. And now we'll get another one.
I think about Mitch Haniger too, the opportunity that he is getting here with the Seattle Mariners. You wonder whether or not that playing time would have been there for him. Right, coming over from the Arizona Diamondbacks.
A big part of a big trade last year. 2-2 pitch, ground ball. High, easy hop for Odor. He'll throw to first to take care of Cano, one away.
And that's what happens sometimes. You just find yourself the right playing situation. This is a guy who's 26 years old. He's not a young rookie. He got a little bit of time last year. Hit 5 home runs in 123 plate appearances. That didn't guarantee him necessarily playing time. He hit just 229 with the D-backs, and this is a D-back outfield that has A.J. Pollock. Peralta's out there. He has Manny Tomas in that outfield, who's not a great outfielder but can hit a little bit. He may have been fighting for playing time, and now he's getting a great opportunity here. He's off to a great start.
Yeah, and a guy that they really planned on using quite a bit this year. Nelson Cruz takes a strike. Cruz had the RBI single in the first. 6-4 Rangers. It's 1-1. Haniger was in that trade last year, but you're talking about a guy who he was the minor league player of the year in the Diamondbacks organization last year. Did a really nice job hitting AA Mobile and AAA Reno, and that's one where it's hard to know what that means. Another broken bat, and this one knocked down by Andrus. His throw to first in time. Then they get Cruz. Another challenging play on a ball off the bat of Nelson Cruz.
I don't know what bats he's using, but I got to believe his company's happy because there's going to be another bat order going here pretty soon here for Nelson Cruz. But I think what you saw, those look like some Ruchis, but you see what you saw here from Elvis Andrus. He got a little bit fooled by that ball, and that's totally understandable. When you get jammed like that, the bat breaks. It's going to come off a little bit different as opposed to when guys hit it squarely. So it looked like he was going to his right, realized it was more to his left, maybe some funky spin. Nelson Cruz is just going through a lot of those today already.
Well, 2 gone now. And here's Kyle Seager. Seager 0 for 1. Fly out back in the first inning to end that first. Rangers do shift on him to hit it to the right side of the infield. 1-1 the count. There you see it. 3 infielders on that right side. Gallo all by his lonesome. Seager came in with a .250 average. Better power hitting infielders in Mariners history. One. That is way outside.
Take a look here now at the shift that is on here and why they're doing it against Kyle Seager. Now the other thing with him is all the home runs. I'd say all of them. 95% of his home runs are to right field, maybe to center. Throughout his career, he's hit a couple to left, but he is dead pull power.
Takes a strike, 2-2. He's been working counts a little bit this year as well. As many walks as strikeouts to this point, 7 of each. Mention the home runs, 126 career long balls for Seager. And pops this one up. Gallo drifting back. Not an easy play, but he makes it, and the inning is over. So Hamels battles back after the Haniger home runs to retire 3 in a row. this afternoon here at Safeco. Beautiful ballpark, beautiful city up here in Seattle. Final game of this 3-game series. And coming up, by the way, Sunday, April 23rd, it's Bluebell Ice Cream Sunday. Ice cream for just $1 for youngsters 13 and under. Tennessee Rangers take on the Kansas City Royals. Tickets for the game, April 23rd, TexasRangers.com, or by calling 972-RANGERS. Get there early because CJ likes his ice cream.
That's right.
So, after just 3 innings, the Mariners already into their bullpen. Evan Marshall coming on here in the 4th inning. See, Marshall was pretty good his last time out against the Astros, but it has been a big problem for this bullpen, the middle relief. It's an unusual spot. We're looking for long relief, no doubt, today from Marshall.
Well, I think most likely for Scott Service, he saw how Asashi Iwakuma's day was going. We mentioned it, missing spots. The Rangers were getting great swings, squaring up a lot of baseballs, and they score a couple of runs, get themselves back in this game. The Mariners do, and he probably doesn't want to take any more chances with Iwakuma in this game, and this gap getting any bigger.
A breaking ball to Profar for a strike, and the count 1-1. Profar had a base hit in the 2nd inning. Rolled a 2-out single right up the middle. Checks his swing. That one is tight.
Marshall will give you a 93-mile-an-hour fastball, which is a pitch he goes to a bunch about 65% of the time. The first off-speed pitch you will see, the one that he uses the most, will be the curveball. Then it's the changeup and an occasional cutter as well.
Working from the stretch exclusively. And Profar hits this one high in the air, deep center. Notice Martin got a pretty good read and got back there to make the play, 1 away.
Every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics, Undisputed with Skip and Shannon. Weekdays from 8:30 to 11 Central, only on FS1.
Now 1 away, and now to the top of the order for Carlos Gomez. Gomez having a little trouble lately at the plate. Average dipping still. He hammers this ball to center field, but Martin to his left, and he's right there, 2 away. And so the struggles continue for Gomez.
And the aggressiveness too, right? We talked about it, where Carlos Gomez is and what he has done throughout his career, and his home runs, better than 50% of those home runs have come within the first 2 pitches of an at-bat, whether it be an 0-0, 1-0, or 0-1 count. So he sees something that he likes early, he goes after it. That ball got in on him just a little bit. Couldn't quite get enough of the barrel to it.
Well, Evan Marshall in relief today for Seattle, and he's retired the first 2 he has faced. Last year pitched in 15 games with the Diamondbacks. ERA in those 15 relief appearances approaching 9. So it was not pretty for Marshall. Spent the better part of the year last year down at the AAA level in the Diamondback system. And another guy who, Seattle, I mean, they really went after a lot of those Diamondbacks, kind of 4A borderline guys this offseason.
Yeah, now he wasn't involved in a trade. He was a guy that was picked up off of waivers right near the beginning of the season. Right. It happened on April 4th. So the Mariners had a need. And Evan Marshall went on the waiver wire. They saw that there could be an opportunity, so they claimed him. Now here he is with another opportunity with a new club.
He had a nice spring for the Diamondbacks. 1-1 pitch. And it's 2-1 to Andrews. And so what the heck? They figured, we'll take our chances there, and now here he is. He did start the year with Tacoma, made 1 appearance with the Mariners AAA club. 2-1 pitch, and Andrews swings over the top of it.
And part of that probably with the injuries, some of the injuries that the Mariners have been dealing with. Steve Cishek was on the DL, Drew Smiley on the DL, and so they must have liked what they saw when they were scouting Marshall. It's usually how it goes down. You see something in spring training. You don't look at an ERA from a year ago and limited innings pitched, which is 15 that he had last year. That's not how you make your evaluation.
It's Andrews to chop one foul again. The count stays 2-2. Elvis today hitless in 2 tries. Average at .333 coming in. Again, batting in the 2-hole today for Jeff Bannister. That's the 2nd day in a row that he's had Elvis that high in the order. And he has had a tremendous month of April. 2-2. And this ball popped up right side of the infield. Cano calls for it, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the 4th inning for Evan Marshall. Well, we are in Seattle. Occasional blue skies even here this afternoon. Four Rangers leading as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning, and Rangers fans get $10 Upper Reserve box seats for most Tuesdays all season long, courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest. You can also add a $10 meal to your seats when you buy online. Go to TexasRangers.com/specials, but use the coupon code FSSW10 to reserve those $10 seats today. Now, bottom of the 4th inning, Taylor Motter leading things off and takes strike 1, a backdoor breaking ball from Hamels. Motter, Valencia, and Ruiz here in the 4th inning. Hamels gets him to bounce one down to 3rd. Nice stab by Gallo. And throws across the diamond to take care of Motter, 1 away.
Good job here by Cole Hamels coming out, getting that first out after a longer 3rd inning. He's done a nice job today. The strike percentage has been pretty high at 62%. He's got 4 swings and misses so far, but he seemed a little frustrated. You could see it on the body language and grunting and yelling going on with him last inning. Not thrilled about some of his pitches, but at 67, count a little bit higher than he wants it to be, but he's got the lead. What matters at this point is just getting a little bit deeper in the game, try to get him through 6 or 7. And hand that lead over to the bullpen.
And his first pitch in there for a strike to Danny Valencia, who bounced into a double play in the 2nd.
Who do you think is the cruel soul that is cooking bacon in our area?
Right.
It is just blowing right in front of my face.
This ball hit out to left field. Profar late start coming in, goes into a dive but can't get it. Valencia sneaks one in for a base hit.
And on a day when we have seen some emotion from Cole Hamels. I'm sure he is frustrated. Nothing he can do here. Makes a good pitch. It's down and away. Jurickson Profar takes that first step back, but that is natural for outfielders. And plus, of course, he hasn't played a ton of outfield either, so you're going to live with that. But he gave it everything he had right here. You are taught as an outfielder, you always take that first step back and kind of read the ball and see where it is. Now, when a ball gets hit off the end like that, you get fooled. There's no two ways about it. It sounds a little bit harder than it was. You and I have been fooled a couple of times just sitting up here watching balls coming off the bat. So it's that half a step back and you wait a little bit. And the more outfield he plays and the more experience he gets, he'll probably pick up a half a step or a step. And that may turn into a diving catch. But for now, I think that's all you can expect from Jurickson Profar. That certainly by no means was a ball that you expect to be caught. But some of your better ranging left fielders might be able to get to that one. But he just doesn't have the experience yet.
Now here's Carlos Ruiz, struck out in the second. A good battle between Hamels and Ruiz. Fouls this one off, the count 1-1. We're also reading earlier this week, again, just all the things that are measured anymore, that early on this year it appears outfielders, generally speaking, are playing a little deeper.
Yeah, very interesting, and I'm okay with it. You know, I think we had a situation last year where we saw Andrew McCutchen pretty much see the end of his time in center field because of he was playing so shallow, right? The Pirates decided based on their analytics they were going to play him a lot more shallow. He's getting beat on balls over his head. All of a sudden he's not rating well, and they say, you know what, based on the numbers, we're not going to put you in right field. But you're right, there have been more and more outfielders playing deep now, especially the pull side. So in the case of Ruiz right now, your left fielder and your center fielder. But what you want to do now, if you look, you can't even see him, but if a little bit to the right, we can get a peek over there. Nomar Mazara is not playing deep compared to where we have our left and our center fielders here for the Rangers. Nomar's in a little bit, maybe say average to in, because the opposite hitter is not going to be able to drive the ball.
One hopper down to third. The second one, the throw to first, and Napoli makes the tag to end the inning. 5-4-3. Not as textbook as some, but a beauty nonetheless. Inning over, and we will go to the fifth. Rangers lead by 2. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Texas Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Oh, busy day. It's an Easter Sunday. Happy Easter, CJ.
Thank you, buddy. Happy Easter to you. You think they got some ham out there?
Yeah, I hope so.
Some peeps?
Might explain some bacon you were smelling earlier.
There we go.
All the peeps. That's my favorite.
It is?
Oh,
better than
the
the Cadbury eggs?
Oh, far better than Cadbury eggs.
Not the ones with the gooey, not the chocolate outside.
Yeah,
no, those are, I was getting too old for those. Those were great when we were kids. I mean the ones that have the hard shell, but they're smaller, milk chocolate in the middle, but the shell kind of crumbles as soon as you take a bite. Tremendous texture. Really good.
Here's Nomar Mazara. He likes jelly beans.
You
1 for 2 today.
Did you get that in Stats MLB?
I did.
They got it all.
Well, I knew it to be the case because everybody loves jelly beans.
Except for the black ones, those black licorice
Oh,
ones.
I love those.
Really?
Oh,
Of course
yeah.
you do. That makes perfect sense, actually.
1-1 the count to Nomar. Yeah, a little spice. Mix it up. Good shift against Nomar, per usual. And he cuts through this one, the count of 1-2. In Seattle, final game of this 3-game series. I'm Dave Remond with CJ Nikowski and Emily Jones, who also big fan of the jelly bean. I trust, and I assume that to be the case. She's human after all. Mike Napoli waiting on deck. Rougned Odor. So the heart of the order in this 5th inning. And the 1-2 pitch. This one left up. And Mazara hits it up. But high in the air to center. Well, Leonis Martin's been busy out there in center field.
4th put out for him already.
Now here's Napoli. So Evan Marshall has come on in relief and retired the first 4 batters he has faced today. Asashi Iwakuma just did not have it for the Mariners today. Gave up 6 runs in 3 innings. So Napoli also 1 for 2, has scored a run. And this one yanked off the plate outside for a ball.
And Mike Napoli also getting the shift here from the Seattle Mariners. So they're moving around quite a bit. I think with this new front office with Jerry DiPoto, new manager now, 2nd year in Scott Service, they're taking advantage of the advanced metrics. But what's interesting to me is that you look in right field and Mitch Haniger is playing pretty much straight up in right field, and that's why, because Mike Napoli can still hit the fly balls over.
This one heading foul, and Haniger able to track it down in foul ground. There are 2 away.
You will see that a lot of times where the infield shifts, but the outfield does not. If you have a guy, you look at the chart, you look at his history, especially against a right-handed pitcher with a fastball around the range that Marshall has, and it tells you that he will hit the ball to right field in the air, then you leave your right fielder where he is and you only shift your infielders.
Now Rougned Odor popped up his last time in. Doubled earlier. Odor is still 6th in the league with his 3 home runs and holds off on a pitch a little upstairs. Now the Rangers, were leading the league in just about every offensive category coming into the series, but really cooled down in the opening 2 games. Odor pops it foul. In fact, just 9 hits in those first 2 games and 1 run. And more activity out there in that bullpen. Pazos.
We continue to see the Seattle Mariners try to elevate their fastballs against Rougned Odor, but it is kind of interesting. You're looking and digging some of those numbers. If they're in the strike zone enough, he has been very strong. Fastballs that are up and middle. This one they're going to try to go in. And he's been a lot weaker up and in. Going back to the start of last season on fastballs, where they can get him up there, really elevate where that glove is for Ruiz. Now he missed there. Marshall did, but just a 194 batting average on good fastballs that are up and in. And you see it right there, the 191. But it's interesting, 341, 400 to me. We've seen them go up, but they're trying to go above the zone. But if you miss, that's a dangerous area to be pitching Rougned Odor.
This one down low, and it's 2-2. Oh, he hit that last ball they pitched in on him. He hit it up into the upper deck, foul.
And a lot of times, that's the only place you can hit that ball. If you get a ball in far enough, in this case, right-handed pitcher, left-handed hitter, the place he can get that barrel to is going to be facing foul and to hit that ball hard. If he kept it fair, he would not hit the ball as hard.
And he swings over the top of that breaking ball, strike 3, and so Evan Marshall has come in to settle things down for the Mariners. We've got a good game halfway there this afternoon. as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. This one a 6-4 Rangers lead, and it has been Shin-Soo Choo, a one-man wrecking crew today. His 5 RBIs, most since 2010, a game at Kansas City back when he was with the Cleveland Indians. Yeah, big day today for Choo. Mitch Haniger's had the big hit for the Seattle Mariners, and he would be due up 3rd this inning. Leonis Martin starts it off, however, and he takes ball 1 from Cole Hamels.
I think that just a matter of time, and everyone expecting Shin-Soo Choo to come around here a little bit, but this is what makes the Rangers offense so dangerous, right? You can have guys that can have, a couple off days, maybe even, worst case scenario, a couple of off weeks, but there are enough good hitters in this lineup where other guys can carry the team at certain times, and the depth right now what the Texas Rangers are throwing out there is really, really dangerous.
Strike this time to Martin. So a little run support today for Cole Hamels. No decisions in his first 2 starts of the year, although left with the lead both times. And this one hit on a hop to short. Tough play for Andrews on a backhand, but he gets Martin 1 away. And we check in with Emily Jones.
Well, guys, more than one veteran guy off to a bit of a slow start. Carlos Gomez and Mike Napoli come to mind right off the bat. Asked Jeff Bannister about it today, and he says, look, there could be a number of different explanations for it. Just guys starting off slow. Also, they could be a hotter target in the lineup and pitch to differently because of their reputation and their previous successes. So, obviously, Banny not too terribly worried about those veteran guys coming around.
I agree. I mean, there is something to be said for track records. They mean something in this game. The downside of, I guess, being a good player and having a good track record is everyone knows about it, and there's a lot of information on you, and you get game planned as good as anybody, and you're going to have much more to look at, right? Much deeper. Your file runs a lot longer, and that could certainly be a little bit of an issue. That goes on the pitching side as well. Like I said, this offense to me is in really good shape. I mean, sure, maybe the top a little bit, getting on base a little bit more, but these hitters are dangerous. A lot of power, a lot of slugging going to be happening this year in Texas.
There's some versatility with this offense too. I don't think there's any question, especially based on what we have seen, that this team will score a lot of runs. And I thought yesterday's loss, 5-0 loss, almost no hit by the Mariners, was one of the more encouraging games we've seen in a while. Bouncer back to the mound. Hamels with a nice reach to pull that one out of the sky, and he takes care of Heredia. 2 away. And the reason I say that is because Andrew Cashner last night pitched into the 6th inning. He looked pretty strong. Really did a nice job. Dyson came on, a clean 8th inning to wrap up the game. There were some things in yesterday's game that would long-term really look good for the Rangers.
I'm with you. Andrew Cashner's first outing was very impressive. Velocity was good. The off-speed stuff was good. The movement on the fastball was really good. The command was really strong. And this is a team, when you look at your team and you say, okay, everybody's got something going on. What's going on with the Rangers and how can they get better? There's tremendous opportunity to get better from within, which is encouraging. Right? You're not sitting here going, we don't have the guys in our organization. We're not going to be able to get it done, whether it be something injury, something sets you back. Well, Matt Bush had been out for a couple days. He's now back. That's a nice little improvement. Keone Kela, I'd like to believe that he's going to be here sooner than later. That is going to be a nice boost to that bullpen. Then you talk about what's going on in the starting rotation. Andrew Cashner yesterday. Tyson Ross is still sitting there within this organization. Everyone expects him to be a big contributor at some point, hopefully by May at the latest. We'll see what happens there. So there's a lot of great opportunity for this team to continue to get better. And, oh, by the way, Adrian Beltre will be playing for this team at some point. So this team within itself already will be a better team without making any moves, without going outside the organization at all. So there is a legitimate reason to have optimism about this season.
Off to a 4-7 start. This one just misses in. 2-2 on Haniger. So the team 3.5 back of Houston at the moment. Houston was rained out today in Oakland. It's been interesting too because you look at the records and we've had a chance now to see everybody in the division but Houston in person. And you can see that the records aren't a real good indicator of what you have. When we came here, the Mariners were 2-8. Well, obviously a much better team than a 2-8 record would indicate. When we were just in Anaheim, but a matter of days ago, when we got there, the Angels were 6-2 and not even close to a 6-2 team. So the early records don't always tell you a whole lot.
They're not as invaluable as spring training records, but they're not that far off when you start looking at the first week. Now, I'll tell you what we saw so far in those two starts. You could see why there was some optimism on the Rangers side. You get King Felix throwing the way he was, James Paxton the way he has so far. They're very dangerous at the top of their rotation. And you know, if you can get into the postseason with a really strong 1 and 2, you can do a lot of damage. And as we mentioned before, on the Seattle Mariners sides of things, the middle of the lineup really hasn't started hitting yet. And so they have their reasons to believe that it will get better. They also have some relievers that are hurt. Drew Smyly in that rotation right now is hurt. Steve Cishek is hurt. So they also believe that they can be strong. Everyone thought it would be the Rangers, the Astros, and the Mariners before the season started. It certainly seems like it could still be the case.
Haniger works himself a walk against a frustrated Cole Hamels. And a 2-out base runner now for Robinson Cano. Yeah, no, I mean, and just to be clear, that's what I meant when we came here and they were 2-8.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, a much more promising team than a 2-8 record would show. And I'm one of those people, I get tired of hearing it in the offseason. Jerry DiPoto, man, he was aggressive. He did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he did.
But you know what? Until we see it on the field, and until you can do it on the field, then to me, let's wait and see what you really look like. And okay, now we're a couple weeks in, and I'll say, all right, there's some merit. They are definitely players in this division if they can stay healthy and maybe fix things in that bullpen.
But all those moves they made this offseason, there wasn't really any of the marquee moves. Now we're seeing Mitch Haniger. Now we're seeing what he's doing. It's okay. Well, this guy can be a little bit impact, but it's still the stars that they already had are the ones that are the biggest pieces that they have. There were a ton of transactions from the Mariners this past offseason. The joke was, the day you wake up and there wasn't a trade by the Mariners, you wondered if something was wrong.
Cano rips one into right field, base hit. Around second, heading to third is Haniger. And they'll have him on the corners with 2 out in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, you see here, not a terrible pitch by Cole Hamels, down maybe a little bit further in than he wanted it. Robinson Cano, such a good hitter, another one who's been off to a slow start, but you always take him pretty seriously, puts a good swing on that ball, and now first and third here, it's 2 outs. We have seen Cole Hamels do a very nice job against Nelson Cruz today. Yes, he has a base hit, but it was a broken bat base hit. He broke his bat as well on a ground out to short back in the 3rd inning. And so usually you'd be saying, oh man, you know what, Cano's the guy you want him to get out. You feel more comfortable at that at bat with 2 outs. But the way that Cole Hamels has pitched Nelson Cruz so far today, confidence is high that he should be able to finish this inning here.
Now they've got runners on the corners. Cruz takes it down low. Hamels' pitch count has escalated quickly. Jeremy Jeffress already getting loose out there.
Yeah, and Jeffress, a guy who's done a really nice job his last couple of outings. He's really looked locked in. The fastball has been very good, and he's a good emergency guy, meaning in the middle of innings, if you need a guy to get you out of a jam, he's an ideal guy. Hopefully the Rangers don't need him this inning.
This ball was struck on the left field line. Heading foul. Ooh.
And exhale. Another one of those. Now, Cole Hamels got him out front a little bit, but not too much. If anything, this is probably more Nelson Cruz getting a little bit jumpy. Cole knows the mistake that he made. Ranger fans familiar with that swing from Nelson Cruz. He knew it right away that he hooked it.
Wow, that'll get the heart beating just a little bit. Haniger still at third. Cano at first, the 1-1. And that's tight. Cruz had a big home run here on Friday night. A solo shot in the 4th inning off Martin Perez. For Nelson Cruz, that was his first of the year. And it swings and misses. It's 2-2.
Cole really needs to bear down here. He's got himself in this 2-strike count. I mentioned it. He's executed very well against Nelson Cruz most of today, but it's a little bit different now. Back against the wall, 1st and 3rd situation. He's representing a go-ahead run, and he's getting ready to throw his 96th pitch. So that fatigue will start to set in. The legs get a little bit tired. This is where you want the focus to go up. Make sure you're staying back over the rubber a little bit longer so you can make a pitch.
2-2, and he got him swinging. Boy, Cole Hamels had to work for it this afternoon. But he digs deep, gets the strikeout of Nelson Cruz. Leaves 2 men on base, and we go to the 6th inning with a 2-run lead. Brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Today's jackpot worth $1,200 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Today the Rangers are hitting for Dylan Edgerton of Victoria. Now if a Ranger hits a home run this inning, Dylan will win $1,200. But if a Ranger hits a grand slam, well, Dylan wins $25,000. A lot on the line here. Jonathan Lucroy has had a good day today. Was hit by a pitch in the 2nd, singled in the 3rd. He has scored twice, driven in a run. He gets time granted just before the first offering of Evan Marshall, who was coming to relief and is now going to work into a 3rd inning. Infield back deep straight away against Lucroy. And he takes a fastball up and out. Lucroy, Chu, who has 5 RBIs today, and Joey Gallo. Little pitch, and that one out to center field. Leonys Martin, easily done. 1 away. All right, our AT&T high-speed replay. How about it today, Chu? 3-run blast, almost 400 feet.
Jumping all over a first beat off speed pitch. Shin-Soo Choo hammers that ball, and then here gets under this one a little bit more, but puts it right down the line past the sliding Heredia. It's been a really nice day so far for Shin-Soo Choo.
Scott Service gets all he needs out of Evan Marshall and goes to his bullpen with 1 out here with the 6th inning. we bring it back here, and sixth relief appearance of the year for James Pazos. And you can see a couple of strikeouts, one walk, a 300 batting average against.
This guy throws pretty hard. Fastball sits around 95, 96 miles an hour. He's got a good slider to go with it as well. Does not have a ton of experience. Got, partial service time over the last 3 years, but he's only faced 26 lefties in the big leagues, and this is pretty surprising. He's only struck out 2 of them.
And his task is to deal with Shin-Soo Choo, who has been very difficult so far today for these Seattle pitchers. The 3-run homer, the 2-run double, and he has gone foul pole to foul pole. And it is 1-1.
And he's only walked one of those lefties in that time, so it's interesting. You see a guy with electric stuff, but for some reason hasn't been able to stick just yet at the big league level. A little bit of time with the Yankees over the last 2 years.
It's 1-1, and Choo foul tips it for strike 2.
That's not everyday velo that you see from the left-hander. Sorry, I said it again. Velocity. Sorry, Dave. I don't want to lose you.
Velo.
Sorry, 96 miles an hour.
Lefty readies again, and Choo stays alive. So some activity too in the Rangers bullpen, and based on the way that 5th inning went, you get the sense that Cole Hamels is done.
Could be. The pitch count is up there, right nearing 100. That's a little bit of an issue. The fact that Tony Barnett is throwing right now with just 1 out tells me there's a good chance that he's probably starting the next inning. Unless they want Cole Hamels to face Kyle Seager, who's leading off next inning. That's the only way that I could see where he would go back out there. It's not an ideal situation to have your starter do that, but they may want to. It's a close game.
No, why is that not ideal?
Well, I just think because he grinded that through that last at bat. When you see the pitch count start to get up there a little bit, you have Doug Brocail go out and talk to him. Right, he lets up the base hit to Robinson Cano, right, against the lefty, and he comes in and you see Nelson Cruz hit that long foul, the home run ends up being a strike, and you see Cole really bear down, make a huge pitch. It's just you're expanding a ton of energy and adrenaline at that point to finish the inning, and you just wonder if there's too much of that calm down time, especially with his pitch count being as high as it is, where you feel better. You know what? Just go ahead and hand it off to Tony Barnett, who's got that good cutter that's pretty effective against left-handed hitters.
1-2.
Oh yeah!
Choo holds off, and that one just missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, pretty good at bat so far for Choo. Yeah, there's Hamels. Now, you get that big strikeout.
They wanted that one, but boy, did that miss its spot by a ton. He got under it, and we see it sometimes, but you miss your spot that bad, even if it catches the strike zone, it's really a tough call for an umpire to make.
Choo chases strike 3. So 2 away in the 6th inning. I was going to say, though, when he got the strikeout, Hamels got Cruz to end the inning. And we'll get back to that.
Breaking ball down on the dirt. 3-2 count, not where he wanted to throw it. Choo probably, after he saw the one hang a little bit, expecting that one to be a little bit closer than it was.
But you get that big strikeout, and so you survive the inning, and you're a little gassed up, right, heading into the dugout. As long as the manager catches you and says, hey, I need you to get one more next inning.
That's right.
Maybe right before you let yourself kind of come down.
Sure. No, that's important. You want the communication to happen right away. You'll see. They can go either way. I'm not saying one or the other should be happening. Those are the 2 different options. Those are the 2 ways that Jeff Bannister is looking at it. And then they also know Cole Hamels really well now, right? He's been here long enough where they have an idea what works, what doesn't, how they prefer to use him. Matchups aside, they figure out what the best way to do it is, and they'll make their decision.
Gallo takes a strike in the count 0-2. Joey Gallo 0 for 2 today, struck out in the 2nd. And then lied out in the 3rd. 9 RBIs, though, to go with the 2 home runs. Playing every day at third base. Done a nice job defensively as well. And a miss by Pazos. 1-2 the count. Evan Marshall came on for Hisashi Iwakuma. He went 2 1/3 and retired all 7 batters he faced. A real nice job out of him. It's 2-2 to Gallo.
This is a tough at bat for a lefty, even the way that you saw Chu approach it. It's one thing when a guy throws hard and he's got a good breaking ball, but he's got good command. Pazos does not have good command, even within the zone. So it's almost hard to get locked in because you're not even sure the ball is going to go where he wants it to. And so make it a very uncomfortable at bat for a left-handed hitter.
2-2 pitch, and Gallo swipes right through it. Back-to-back strikeouts for Pazos. Hamels seems stationed on the bench. And a reminder, the Coca-Cola Family Pack offers savings of over 30% on tickets, food, Kids Zone access, souvenir programs, and Coke soft drinks. Family Pack is an ideal way to catch the Rangers when they play the Minnesota Twins April 24th through the 26th. Go to texasrangers.com/specials. Get your Coca-Cola Family Pack today. All right, Tony Barnett coming on for a clean 6th inning here in relief of Cole Hamels. Jeff Bannister deciding not to bring Hamels out to face Seager. Instead, he will go with the right-hander Barnett.
All right, so you see the numbers there. Now this is how the game is played, and as you go through it and try to figure out, what are the moves that are going to be made. Now Tony Barnett has allowed 4 home runs in his career so far back here in the big leagues. They've all been to lefties. Batting average against is a little bit higher, 280 to 212 when you look at lefties versus righties. And Kyle Seager's very good against the cutter from right-handed pitchers. So it's an interesting decision. So it's not maybe an ideal at bat and an ideal matchup for Tony Barnett. So what we might see is him actually stay away from his cutter to Kyle Seager unless he's trying to go in off the plate, maybe for effect, because he has hit that pitch very well over the last 2 years.
1-0. And there's a called strike. 1-1 the count to Seager. But you talk to enough pitchers over the years, and I mean, you know this. You just go with your strength, right? If you do what you do, you win.
Most of the time, yes, you're absolutely right. That's why you also have to be careful with all those numbers. Now, we haven't seen the cutter yet, so you wonder if he knows a little bit. We've seen pitches away.
1. It's a little low. 2-1 the count on Seager. Dangerous hitter. It's a 2-run lead at the moment for the Rangers. They got 3 runs in the second and 3 in the third. And Hamels done after 5 innings. 2-1. Check swing. He did not go.
Well, look like that might have been it there. And Tony knew he probably had a smaller margin for error. You're right, though. To his strength, if he hits that spot and puts it down on the corner, Kyle Seager is going to have a very hard time keeping that ball fair.
A little hesitation, the 3-1 pitch, and this one is fouled out of play. So now Lucroy with the big decision to make here.
So Lucroy, you're absolutely right. 3-2. He's kind of going through what they've done. He waits till Kyle Seager gets in a little bit, and they've already decided he knows what he wants to do, and no shake from Tony Barnett.
The payoff pitch. And they'll shoot it foul.
Somebody told me this years ago. Tim Pugh, a guy that I played with years ago, 1995, said, have you ever noticed how many foul balls there are on 3-2 counts? And once somebody tells you that, and you start paying attention, it is unbelievable how many times it happens. We just saw one right there from Kyle Seager.
Here's another.
There's another. 2 for 2.
Well, he's doing a good job battling here in the 6th inning.
I love this kind of stuff. I love when we start getting late in the game, start talking matchups like you were asking the question, what do you do, Cole Hamels? Start looking at the repertoire, looking at the history. It's also whether or not a guy is hot or cold, right? Whether it's the pitcher or the hitter. So much that goes into these decisions.
Now the 3-2 pitch, and this ball is hit sharply foul.
That was well located. That's the cutter in. And I told you this earlier. You cannot, if he tries to hit that fair, he's not hitting it as hard as he just did. That is the only place where he can hit that ball hard, which, by the way, is now the 3rd 3-2 foul ball we've seen.
Seager's been busy in this series. Yesterday, a 2-run single late. He hits this ball out to the gap right center field. That one drops in. He'll head for 2. And in there with a leadoff double.
For me, this is a situation where you go give credit where credit is due. After 4 foul balls actually on those 3-2 counts, it ends up being a fastball that Kyle Seager handles very well, hits it right in the gap. Tough at bat. This guy's a good player. We've talked about it. Carlos Gomez does everything he can, but he has no play at all at second base, and now the tying run will come up here against Tony Barnett.
All right, Taylor Motter walked back in the 2nd inning. It was doubled up. He takes a strike from the inside corner. Barnett matching Motter's hair. Blonde versus brunette, and this one fouled back. 0-2.
Listen, I'm not being biased here, but for sure Tony Barnett's is more intimidating.
Yeah,
there's not.
I agree.
Right? I mean, I guess you can go.
No.
Like even like Noah Syndergaard, right? He's got the flow going, but
Right.
it's not as even though he's a big dude. There's something about the blonde hair that feels a little more safe.
Agreed.
Yeah.
No question about it. Yeah, that's definitely a more intimidating look on the left side. 0-2. He gets away from Lucroy, but not far enough. Seager has to hold second.
That looked like a split finger from Tony Barnett that he just got out there a little bit too early front side. If it flies a little bit, sometimes this ball will take off on you and not in the direction that you want. Jonathan Lucroy was trying to get that pitch down and away on an 0-2 count.
Seager battled once he got to 2 strikes. Now Motter holds off on that one. 2-2. Barnett has not been used a whole lot lately. Just his 2nd appearance in the last 8 days. And in a pretty big spot in this 6th inning. Coming on for Cole Hamels. 2-2 pitch. Got him looking. So he strikes out Mater, one away in the 6th.
This is a really nice pitch here. As we watch Tony Barnett try to go inside, that's actually a front door cutter, which means he starts that ball a ball, and it comes back and just catches the inside corner. I mean, that was perfectly located. Very tough on a right-handed hitter to try to get a swing on that ball when probably 90% of the way there, it's out of the strike zone.
Danny Valencia, who is 1 for 2. First pitch to him, and this one stroked out toward right center field. Tough spot. Gomez can't get to it, and it drops in. It'll chase Seager all the way to the plate. It's a one-run game. Valencia with his second hit of the afternoon. This one an RBI double.
Well, Valencia is an aggressive hitter, and he sees something that he likes early on out over the plate. Probably a cutter from Tony Barnett. Does a good job of at least not trying to pull that ball. And you know, Barnett has had some tough at-bats here so far. He had the long Kyle Seager at-bat. And there was the Mater at-bat that he did a really nice job finishing him off. And he's a pitch just a little bit up. Danny Valencia jumps all over it.
Tying run in scoring position for Seattle. 8th place hitter Carlos Ruiz, 0 for 2. He takes a strike. Ruiz 2 for 10 for the year. He's in a backup role here at catcher. And Mike Zunino, and he takes one low. 1-1. More activity out of that Rangers pin. Alex Claudio. Play Ruiz pretty much straight away. It's in the outfield. And it's 1-2.
Good elevation there from Tony Barnett, and how we saw Cole Hamels finish off Ruiz earlier with that strike, that fastball that was up back in the 2nd inning. Got another option here. You love the strikeout, and going forward with the runner in scoring position could elevate again, or potentially maybe even throw that cutter down and away.
The 1-2. He went. He should have. Let's appeal it. Yes, indeed. CB Buckner rings him up. Well, there was no question. I'm not real sure why Mark Carlson even needed help.
Well, that's exactly what it was. The cutter down. Good location. Carlos Ruiz knew it was out of the zone, but he recognized it way too late.
Oh, 2 strikeouts in the inning. Valencia still out there at second base. Gallo comes in tight at third now with Leonis Martin at the plate. And Martin rolls it slowly down the first baseline, and that one looks like a fair ball. But called foul. We're waiting for somebody. Wow, that was weird. CB Buckner's got to make that call.
Nobody reacted right there, and
there we go.
Mike Napoli let him know what the call was. Mike Napoli says, no, that actually was fair, and CB Buckner seems to agree, and I promise you this, Scott Service will not be happy.
Now, Scott Service going to go out there to have a word with Mark Carlson, but this one is done. That's a fair ball, and Napoli takes care of business. Inning over. It's a 1-run game. the fans in Seattle. Service was ejected moments ago by C.B. Buckner. Great argument out there. A lot of fun.
Nobody wishing anybody a happy Easter here in Seattle as C.B. Buckner is trying to explain to Scott Service why he called or why he made the call the way that he did. But Scott Service, I get it. I get why he's upset, because originally C.B. Buckner called a foul. Mike Napoli said something to him, and then he called it fair. Now let's watch this ball right here. I mean, it is still a fair ball, and it even looks like it hit the line after it went over the bag. Now Mike looked back at C.B. Buckner, who just kind of throws his hands up like, hey, I didn't see that. I don't know what he was doing there, but there was a lot of inaction that was going on. It was the right call. That call, by the way, is not reviewable. In front of the bag for fair and foul balls, it cannot be reviewed. If it was after the bag, you could review it. That was not the case here. That ball was a ground ball in front of the base.
That was a really weird exchange, though, you have to admit, on the part of C.B. Buckner, because he made no call initially, then sort of slowly raised his hands as if to say, foul?
Question mark. It did feel that way. Now, I don't know how these guys work as far as if it's in front of the bag. Does the home plate umpire supposed to make that call? I don't think so. I'll also tell you this. Rob Manfred has talked a ton about pace of play. So that entire time, nobody was on the field, right? That's one thing. The other part of that is the grounds crew was waiting to come out to do the field. I guess they do it between, this time, every time, or whatever, every game. I don't know why they weren't doing it. Why, I guess you don't do it while they argue. I mean, go ahead and do that and get it done, because now you have them out there doing that. These guys trying to get ready at the same time. The field stayed completely empty for what, 2.5 minutes?
Yeah.
Don't do the field one way or another, unless they were worried about it being a review, I guess, is maybe the one thing. And if there was a review, then they would not go out there and do that.
I have to say this. We don't see it very often anymore, those kind of rhubarbs and then ejections. You miss it.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
That was great theater. It was fun. We were in commercial break at the time, but the fans loved it.
No, you're right. Bobby Cox's record is safe. The most ejections all time by any manager. And listen, I like replayed mostly. Right, there have been some things that have come along with it that we don't love. Guy pops off the bag for a quarter of a second, he's out. Right, that wasn't the intent. But this is what you get with good technology. And so, yes, part of that is now no longer the get in your face, throw your hat down, maybe throw a base, whatever you want to throw, kick dirt. You talk about legends of getting kicked out of games. Seattle Mariners are very familiar with the great Lou Piniella, who made an absolute spectacle, and it was great theater.
Well, Pazos in after striking out 2 batters in the 6th, and he misses outside 3-0.
Tim Bogart now.
Yeah, Tim Bogart, over. Bench coach here. He'll take over.
His name has popped up a lot for managerial vacancies and has not gotten one yet.
Get the next
Off
guy.
the plate, a 4-pitch walk to Profar. Rangers had the lead man on in this 7th inning. This may well end up being a very critical 7th inning. Suddenly a 1-run game. And yeah, that might be it for Pazos. We'll go back to the top of the order. And here comes Tim Bogart. Look, I'm a manager now. I'm going to do something about it. I'm making a pitching change. They go to the bullpen. A man on for the Rangers in the 7th. of the order comes up. Tony Zych, right-hander, was just activated from the 10-day disabled list for the, I guess it was the day before we came into town. He was activated on Thursday. He had pitched in a couple of games with Tacoma. Did you see the numbers last year for Zych?
Good fastball, 95 miles an hour on average. He's a strictly fastball slider pitcher. We use that term a lot with right-handers. Very common. Fastball slider guy, throws hard, good slider. Uses a slider a good amount of time, about 40%. Wanted a little clarification, thanks to the great Mark McLemore, friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show.
He's fantastic. But I kind of tiptoed around. I was pretty sure, and he helped me kind of confirm. Any ground ball before the base is the home plate umpire's call. Anything past the base is then, in this case, C.B. Buckner's call. The first base umpire, or the other line would be the third base umpire. So that's probably why there was some tiptoeing around and C.B. Buckner kind of putting up his hands like, hey, which one of us is going to make that call? So give him a little bit of a breather. Don't want to beat up on him too much.
So there
was just some real indecisiveness on where and when that call should have been made. But it was fair the entire time is part of the problem.
So now to the top of the order for Carlos Gomez. An insurance run in this 7th inning be nice for the Rangers. Trying to salvage a win in this 3-game series. Gomez looking for his first hit of the day. Did have a couple of base hits Friday night, walked yesterday, but 0 for 3 today. Infield at double play depth with Profar off first base. Zych with a high set, and this ball shot out to right field. Haniger was deep, coming on quickly, and he'll make the catch for out number 1. Bring up Elvis Andrus. And Elvis 0 for 3 today. It has been a funky series for these Rangers hitters. Just 2 hits yesterday. I mean, absolutely shut down by James Paxton, and then Nick Vincent, who struck out the side in order in the 9th. Very impressive pitching last night from the Mariners. A little more opportunity maybe on Friday, but still fairly quiet day. Today they did their damage against Mariner starter Hisashi Iwakuma, who left after 3 innings. Zych had a pretty involved surgery in the offseason on that right shoulder. And this ball is hit into center field, drops in, base hit. So a single by Andrus. Rangers have a couple of men on. Profar drops anchor at second. And the heart of the order coming now.
It's a pitch that they wanted down away, finishes out over the plate. Jurickson Profar had to wait a little bit at first base. Could not go right away. Had to make sure you watch him here and kind of going along and looking, make sure that ball gets down. Not that he would have had much of a chance to get to third, even if he could read that right away. And Tim Bogar, as we take a look at the all-time hits leaders here with the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, that one ties Ruben Sierra.
Very nice.
5th all-time for Andrus. And Tim Bogart, he's getting his money's worth out of this manager job today. Goes to the bullpen again.
Mariners by a score of 6-5, top of the 7th. And Rangers fans, why don't you do yourself a favor and download the Fox Sports Go app and take Rangers baseball with you wherever you go. If you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports Go app, which is presented by Hyundai.
Nicely done.
Thanks.
Couple of men out there for the Rangers in this 7th inning. And Mark Zipchenski has come on now. It occurs to me this bullpen certainly must lead the league in Z's. Zick just out of the game. Zipchenski coming in to face Nomar Mazara.
Passos.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what. Big Scrabble day here at the ballpark. Profar second, Andrus at first. I saw Zipchenski Friday night, went 2/3 of an inning in that one. Came in to get Chu and Mazara back to back.
Of course, how could we forget? Diaz? My goodness.
Carlos Ruiz doing the catching today. Another look back there at second base.
We'll get our stats department on that and tell us the most Z's ever in a bullpen where there was a Z catcher. Those guys aren't doing anything. I'm sure they'd love that email stat. You can email these guys. They run these great queries for you. They work their tails off and they give you all this great information.
Yeah, that's one that I don't think they'd welcome.
Just flat out delete that one when it comes in.
Now Zipchenski. Mazara bounces it into the dugout. Now he got Mazara on a ground out to short Friday night. Bogart now the manager. Service ejected from the game between innings. And they're now out of left-handers in that bullpen. They still have a handful of right-handers that they can use this afternoon, but we're only in the top of the 7th inning. And Bogart seems inclined to play matchups a little bit. I mean, he's getting after it in the 7th inning.
A lot of times when guys fill in like that, they usually play it by the book. More often than not, they don't get too creative, and they also know the tendencies of their manager, what Scott Service would usually do. And without giving away too many secrets, Scott Service may still have a little bit of influence on what goes on, maybe, even though technically he is not supposed to. Not ratting him out in particular, just saying what I've seen in the past. I've seen a manager get kicked out. It's just sitting around the corner down the stairs in a chair.
There are ways. There are ways to continue to communicate.
But then there's also veteran managers who will go ahead and let that bench coach take over and let him experience it as well.
Mazara with a slow tapper, and that will move the runners. Valencia will grab it and go to the bag, but Profar gets to third, Andrus to second base. There are 2 out in the inning. Does get Napoli to the plate now against the left-hander, at least at the moment.
And those grumblings that you hear maybe in the background, a little sarcasm here, I think, from the Mariners fans, giving C.B. Buckner a little bit of a hard time on a ball that was obviously fair. Still a little bitter about what happened last inning. Till Leonis Martin.
Now an intentional walk to Mike Napoli.
I'll get over it sooner or later, but every time we do it this way now with the new rules in Major League Baseball, where you just go Little League style and tell the umpire, walk him, it hurts my heart a little bit. I don't enjoy it. And again, I said it the first time and I'll say it again. Mark Zipchenski would have had to throw 4 80% effort pitches out of the strike zone intentionally to load the bases, then come back and have to face Rougned Odor and try to get locked back in.
I think, I think when you have second and third in particular, you should not be allowed to do it. For that reason exactly, because now if he went through that and it did throw him off, made him a little uncomfortable, whatever, and he's got to take a pitch or two to get back into that groove. I mean, you're right that that's a decided advantage, or should be, for the offense.
What about the wild pitch? I mean, even the wild pitch in that situation, it happens. Every once in a while, it does happen. To save 30 seconds, I don't think it's worth it. I made this point too. John Lester has not intentionally walked the batter since 2012. Or excuse me, he's only been a couple times. He hasn't done it the last 2 years. You know why? Because he can't.
Right.
You've seen him throw to first base.
Rougned Odor with the bases loaded. And fouls off strike one. Well, big spot here for Odor, and though it has been a bit of a scuffle lately for him, a chance to come out of it in a real big way. He did have a double earlier today. Odor, who was red hot out of the gate at Globe Life Park, has cooled down considerably on this road trip. Profar, Andrews, Napoli on the bases. Did he go? They want an appeal. No, it's 1-1. Well, it's Colbreth's chance to take a beating.
No home games when you're an umpire, and you see Rougned Odor really close, probably held up at the very end. Zepchinski throwing that slider, that bait, trying to get him to go out of the zone.
The 1-1. Ball two. Dort hang it in there against his tough left-hander. Zepchinski, the 5th pitcher this afternoon for the Mariners. Odor 1 for 3 against Zepchinski in his career. The 2-1. And that'll square the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rangers got 3 runs in the second, 3 in the third. Six runs on 8 hits so far today, 1 error. 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Mariners, and a very big at bat right here between Zepchinski and Rougned Odor. And Zepchinski will step off.
It's a big spot in the game, left-hand lefty. Even though it's only the 7th inning, you think about a 1-run game, all these potential RBIs that are out there for Rougned Odor, and that's why Zepchinski stepped off, and now Carlos Ruiz would like to talk about the plan here. We mentioned earlier the elevated fastballs that they've used against Odor. You just kind of wonder if, you know, Zepchinski thinking, I want to go slider again? Do I want to go fastball down and away, which is generally a good pitch to a lefty, or is Ruiz trying to talk him into elevating that fastball, but telling him, if you do it, get it up and in under his hand. So a crucial part of the game, one worth talking over for those two.
Notice Martin fairly shallow in center field. Seems to have creeped in just a little bit. And Odor lifts this one high in the air down the right field line. Haniger into that corner, up against the wall. And he makes the catch. Rangers leave them loaded in the top of the 7th. They stand and stretch in Seattle. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. Bottom of the 7th inning. Lots of Rangers fans on hand this weekend here in Seattle. And fans having a good time at the ballpark. All right, today's showstopper. How about Bryce Harper on the other coast? Big home run early. He wouldn't be done. His 4th would end the ball game.
Bryce Harper has gotten off to a really nice start here in 2017. A lot of question marks. I say a lot. Some surrounding him. He had a huge year, of course, 2 years ago when he won the MVP in 2015, and a little bit of regression last year. Saw a career low batting average from him, but so far he looks to be back in MVP form this year.
Bryce Harper, 2 long balls, 4 for the year, and they came in a half game back of the Mets for play today. Really pretty tightly packed National League East division at the moment. Only 2.5 games separating everybody in the division coming into play today.
I think that's something too that'll likely last at least between the Mets and the Washington Nationals, the 2 best teams on paper in that division. And it does seem like they'll go down the wire, although that depth of the Mets pitching staff all of a sudden getting tested a little bit.
Once again,
as deep as they were, they actually look like they may be able to use a little bit of help.
Now, meanwhile, here, bottom of the 7th inning in a 1-run game, and pretty interesting maneuver early in this game. Hisashi Iwakuma was not pitching well. Rangers had batted him around for 6 runs in the first 3 innings. And Scott Service took him out after 3. His team scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 3rd. Got back in it, made it a game, and now a battle of bullpens here. It's a 1-run contest. And Barnett gets Heredia. Offer it that one. The count 1-2. Little double barrel action in the Rangers bullpen.
Both of those guys up for a 2nd time. And I tell you what, too, we came in and we had heard about how bad the Seattle Mariners bullpen had been. I'd like to see it.
This one fouled away. Count 1-2. No, I'm with you. They have been pretty good in this series.
They haven't allowed a run, right?
No, inning and 2/3 scoreless on Friday night. Allowed just 1 hit. Yesterday, Nick Vincent came in, faced 3 hitters, struck out all 3, and that was it.
Nothing today. Well, 6 of those runs went to Iwakuma.
Yep. 1-2 pitch, and Heredia again spoils it. And we will reset top of the order in this 7th inning for the Mariners. And Barnett out for a 2nd inning of work. He did give up a run in the 6th. A couple of doubles, one by Kyle Seager, one by Danny Valencia. Cole Hamels went 5 innings today. Walked 2, struck out 2, gave up 4 runs on 6 hits, but only 3 of those runs earned. That's 1-2. Making him work. Heredia, not a guy who is going to hurt you with a long ball. He's not going to drive the ball out of the yard. It's not his game, never was. Great Cuban player. Defected a couple of years ago. Signed last year with the Mariners. A slap hitter with good speed, and he lifts this ball well out of the left field. Profar is back, and that is gone. And it ties the game. Excuse me.
Well, unfortunately, a little bit different than what we were expecting from Heredia. You mentioned not a guy that really is considered a power threat. That is just his 2nd big league home run. And this was an off-speed pitch that was down. And when you think about a guy that doesn't have power, you think about slider speed bats. It was an off-speed pitch that was down. Gave him a chance to get the barrel of the ball. That's what we talk about when we elevate stuff, trying to throw it up and in hands. And you see Tony Barnett right there reacting because he is just as surprised as you and I are to see Heredia get one out of the ballpark.
Oh, and now Mitch Haniger, who hit a 3-run shot back in the 3rd inning. Now you do get into the guys who have the legit power. New ball game. And Cole Hamels once again will not win this one. 0-2 the count on Haniger. I don't think Cole Hamels is going to tell you it was his best start of the year tonight or this afternoon. It certainly was not, but it is the 3rd straight in which he left with the lead.
Well, he grinded today. We saw him working, and every once in a while a bad break, getting himself in a little bit of trouble, but did a great job keeping the Rangers in the game, handing the lead over to the bullpen. That's always what you want from your starter. He did exactly that. But yeah, going back to Heredia, listen, it's shocking. 417 plate appearances last year at the minor league level, 4 home runs. And you're talking about playing in the Pacific Coast League with Tacoma, also in AA in Jackson, but some good ballparks they hit in both of those leagues when it comes to power.
This one a little tight. And so 2-2 to Mitch Haniger. Big home run by Heredia. Locks this one up at 6. Barnett trying to keep it a tie game, and he strikes out Haniger. 1 away in the 7th inning. Here comes Jeff Bannister. And that is going to do it this afternoon for Tony Barnett. So he'll lead the game, and it's a tie one. We're back with a new pitcher in a moment. Alex Claudio has come on in this 7th inning. Left-hander to face Robinson Cano with 1 out and nobody on, tie game.
He's done a really nice job this year. You haven't seen the swing and miss, but he has induced a lot of weak contact. The low batting average as well, coming from that funky angle. Very uncomfortable at bat for lefties, but what's nice for Jeff Bannister is he has the confidence, if he wants to, if he feels like he needs to, that he can leave Claudio in there against those righties with that really great changeup that he has.
All right, so Cano at the base hit in the 5th inning. 1 for 3 today. Yesterday, Cano reached on an error and he sends this one out to left field, and that is caught by Profar. 2 away. Well, not a simple play either.
No, certainly not. That ball was hit pretty hard. But the Rangers will take it as an out.
One pitch from Claudio. Jeff Bannister back out of the dugout, and that will do it. So the lefty gets the lefty, and now a right-hander coming on. Jeremy Jeffress to face Nelly Cruz when we come back. Bottom of the 7th inning. 2 outs, nobody on.
Always a fun spot to be there in the outfield.
Love it. Fox Sports Southwest. I want you to come show your school spirit at the Texas Rangers games. University Days are back. Get discounted tickets for select games throughout the season. Fans also get a free Rangers cap and school-specific colors. Go to texasrangers.com/udays for details. Well, Jeremy Jeffress is on now. Right-hander to face Nelson Cruz with the bases empty in the 7th inning. And both managers trying to pull out all the stops at this point in a 6-6 ball game. Outfield very deep with Cruz at the plate. He's 1 for 3 today. He'll hammer this one to the dirt, foul for a strike.
Jeffress has looked really good his last couple of outings. That good sinking fastball that he has really been on point. He's done a nice job of driving that ball in to right-handed hitters. Location has been really good, but keeping the ball on the ground. He's done a lot of that over his last 2.
Cruz waiting with that open stance and taps this one up the middle. Odor right there, positioned perfectly. And the throw to first in plenty of time to get Cruz. Jeffress gets his man. And it pushes us to the 8th inning. All square at 6. series has gone otherwise today as we go to the 8th inning. Taking a look at our progressive upcoming schedule. By the way, it rained out today in Oakland. I reached out to some folks in Oakland. It was legitimately pouring there this morning, and then it stopped. Started up again around 1 o'clock. So they got a ton of rain today, washed out. Well, that's where we will be tomorrow night for the opener of a 3-game series with the A's. Then back home for a long homestand, which begins the 4 against Kansas City.
I'm assuming you asked them what's the forecast looking like.
They said it rained really heavily today, early on.
That's the question, isn't it?
Here's Jonathan Lucroy, who takes ball 1. No, there's so much one can do over email.
Oh, email.
I mean, there's a what do you call it? There's a can't you just look online?
I can. 30% chance Monday, 20% Tuesday.
2-0. Well, Lucroy today with a base hit. He's also been hit by a pitch. He has scored 2 of the Rangers' 6 runs, and he leads off this 8th inning against Mark Zipchenski, who came on last inning, faced 3 hitters, got 2 of them. And his 2-0 finds the outside corner. Well, Matt Bush loosening up in that Rangers pin. So we may see him in the 8th inning, and it's just good to see him throwing.
Without a doubt, a good sign. He had that cortisone injection in his AC joint. A little bit of an injury that he has dealt with in the past, so something that he's confident that he will be able to manage. But he is such an important part of that bullpen, and based on everything that has gone on, the idea of him missing any time, even though he already missed a little bit, really kind of throws things out of whack. He last pitched back on April 9th.
Meanwhile, Lucroy waiting on a good pitch here, 3-1, and he sends this one down the right field line, foul. It's a full count. Lucroy has hit well against the Mariners. Today with another base hit. He's hit safely in 11 of his 13 games against Seattle at a nearly 400 clip. Zipchenski taking his time here in the 3-2 pitch. Bouncing ball right side. Cano right there, and Lucroy is out to start the 8th. Well, Zipchenski, we mentioned the 5th pitcher of the day, Tony Zick, prior to him. James Pazos, Evan Marshall, all out of the bullpen today behind Asashi Iwakuma, who just did not have it. Iwakuma was not very sharp at all. About 6 runs on 7 hits in 3 innings. And now Chu's the guy who really kind of knocked him around the most, with 5 RBIs in those first 3 innings. So lefty on lefty, and Gallo waiting on deck. Zipchenski will continue to toil for the Mariners. They're out of left-handers in that bullpen. It's 2-0.
I'm going to take a look at how they're going to set things up here with Chu. Lefty on lefty. They are not planning on him to pull. Look at that right field gap, how open it is. You actually have your center fielder shaded to the left field side. Now, it was interesting because the first pitch was a fastball in, right? They went in. Actually, the first 2 they tried to go in on Chu, but they believe his approach and his history tells you that he likes to go middle away in the outfield against left-handed pitching.
Inside again. 3-0.
If you say so, Dave. You can see the arguments there look pretty good. And I trust Chu more than I trust anybody when it comes to recognition of the strike zone. He's one of the best in the game. That pitch looked pretty good.
3-0 pitch. And there's the strike.
And now you can see it, but then all of a sudden now they start to shift again. So Leonis Martin actually now went to the other side of second base. We showed him earlier in the left field gap. Now he has pinched the right field gap on this 3-1 count.
And Chu will take ball 4, so he is on with 1 out in the 8th.
You're squeezing him
Make sure that you follow Rangers Baseball Live with MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with Game Day. Live game video highlights, radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball.
All right, Delino DeShields pinch running for Chu here. So some very good speed on the bases, representing the potential go-ahead run. Big shift for Joey Gallo as well. Gallo 0 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts. And he chases strike one. And that's one thing he has not done much, which is chase outside the zone.
Yeah, he's got a tough lefty here. Mark Zepchinski, who has kind of been there and done that, has been doing this for a long time and knows how to treat left-handed power hitters. And we've talked about Joey's been really good with the pitch recognition. But there's still going to be times. I mean, there's listen, all the greats do it. And we saw Shin Chu go out of the zone and chasing some sliders. It's going to happen. Even the guys that are great at that pitch recognition.
Boy, he hits this one a ton, high in the air, deep right center, going back. Haniger off the wall, and he made the catch. Oh my! Wow!
I thought this was a no-doubter off the bat, and I got to believe that Joey Gallo did as well. Mitch Haniger had a long way to run. He's trying to find the wall, feel for the wall, and he's up right at the top, and that is probably an absolute no-doubter. Watch him here as he starts to get close to the wall, hand up, find it. He pulled that one back. I think that was right at the top of the yellow line. Let's take a peek here.
Yep. Really
close, and Joey Gallo frustrated as you see it here. He thought he had it, and he knows this. In Texas, that ball's gone.
Zepchinski with an exhale after that one as well. Wow. A heartbreaker for Joey Gallo and the Rangers. Mariners back to the bullpen. And the play of the game moments ago by that young man, Mitch Haniger.
Yeah, this ball was driven by Joey Gallo, and I've always felt like this ballpark has played fair. And there was even a reaction from Mark Zepchinski. Some people say they felt like it plays a little bit big, and it probably does. It feels like it's played big so far since we have been here this series. Balls that have come off the bat loud, not carrying usually as much as we're used to seeing, in a big exhale there from Mark Zepchinski.
Wow. Yeah. Gallo's still shaking his head. You got to be kidding me.
This game will drive it.
Now DeShields running on the play, and he is in at second base with a stolen base, his second of the year. So Delino now in scoring position with that steal. And ball one to Jurickson Profar.
Delano DeShields, so good. We talk about spring training, the great running that he has been doing, and he is such an asset. The shape that he is in right now, the way that he has been running ever since spring training started, and it's carried over into the season. It's a big deal. I know he wants to be playing more. I'm sure wants to be getting more at bats, but he's extremely valuable in these situations. You've got to have that guy that can get you that bag. To the Shin-Chu walk, you're talking about the potential go ahead, potential winning run, getting into scoring position because of those legs.
Well, a good spot now. And the 1-0. Wolfhard watches it low. And on the appeal, he can go. 2-0. Dan Altavilla is a new pitcher, a right-hander. He is the fifth pitcher out of the bullpen today for the Mariners. Altavilla, that sounds like a apartment complex. Like a 1990s search engine, as this one is high. And it's 3-0 to Profar. It's one of those I had to ask. You really do pronounce it Villa, you know? Could you get accustomed to giving it the Altavilla?
Sure.
But no, they said Dan Altavilla. What kind of stock option plan they have over there? The 3-0. And that's ball four. Profar draws the walk, 2 men on.
Second time that Jurickson Profar has got himself a walk. He's got that base hit as well back in the second inning, and now first and second here. An opportunity for Carlos Gomez as Stoudemire will come out and talk to his pitcher, take him through, right? Again, critical moments, and again, this commissioners complain about this a little bit, but critical moments in the game, ones that can define the game. You want to go and you want to talk to your pitchers. Your catcher wants to run out there. They really just want to confirm what the game plan is. They don't want to see anybody make mistakes that would end up costing you the game. But yeah, at times it does slow the game down a little bit.
Well, 2 runners out there now, and the dangerous Carlos Gomez comes to the plate. It's been a tough day for Carlos, 0 for 4. But as anyone who has watched him play since he joined the Rangers late last season, you know, they know he's got a lot of thunder in that bat, and it could show up at any time. Altavilla very high. That one gets away from Ruiz. Everybody going to try to advance a base, and they do successfully.
Wow.
That goes as a wild pitch.
You don't get that call too often, but this was a spot that was missed because they wanted him to go up, and it went up a little bit. I think Carlos Ruiz just botched that ball. He's a really good defensive catcher and a good receiver, but something happened there if he got confused on the sign. But really surprised that he decided to try to make this throw down to second base. That is risky. In that situation, you got to feel confident that you have a legitimate shot. He did not. And real quick, too, part of that conversation, I'm sure, with Gomez, we talked about how aggressive he is early in the count, especially in RBI situations. So they're thinking go out of the zone, try to get him to chase something.
Well, now they have to bring the corners in. That one is high. It's 2-0 because keep in mind, Gomez, great speed out of that leadoff spot, and he will drop a bunt down. He can do it for a hit.
He is not afraid. This really plays now into Carlos's advantage. Now it's just a matter of not over swinging, right? We know we can get a little big at times. Eyes get big. But with that third baseman in, you don't have to.
All right, 3-0. And Altavilla can't find it right now.
He cannot. And the idea of you're saying, well, it's an open base, they want to be a little bit more careful. No, you don't want Elvis Andrus right now. You want Carlos Gomez if you're game planning for the Mariners.
6-6 score. A 3-0 pitch, and that is outside there, loaded up. Wow. So Altavilla has come on. He walked Profar and now walks Gomez on 4 pitches and has to deal with Elvis Andrus.
What's so amazing about that is that he comes into this game. This is now his 22nd game pitch in the big leagues between this year and last year. 17 and a third innings coming into today. He's only walked 3 hitters. And one of them was intentional. So he actually only had 2 walks in the 17 innings of his career coming into today, and he has now since doubled that.
And there's ball one to Elvis Andrus.
He's not a command issue guy, so something else may be going on here at the moment, potentially overwhelming him, whatever it may be.
I mean, a little bit of doubt creeping into his mind and down into the Mariners' minds as they have gone through some real struggles with their bullpen. Evan Scribner getting ready in a hurry out there.
Well, I think because the command has been so good at the big league level, they probably were confident that they did not need to have another righty backing him up, but suddenly they do.
That one is high. 2-0.
And you get that panic phone call down the bullpen, and that is exactly what happened. And heart starts racing, and it doesn't matter. He's facing Elvis Andrus right now, but this very well could be his last hitter if he continues to struggle to throw strikes.
3 walks in the inning. Rangers have them loaded. The 2-0. There's a strike.
And even though that looked like a good pitch to hit, Elvis Andrus, I think, makes the right decision there. And some people say if you still get one to hit, go ahead and take it with the potential go-ahead run at third base. But I'm okay with that. Make this guy throw at least one strike before you go hacking.
Rangers left the bases loaded last inning. Altavilla trying to dodge another big bullet here, and a bouncer foul makes the count 2-2. We're talking about some defining moments in this game. We've had a handful of them. A huge catch this inning at right field by Mitch Haniger, taking a home run away from Joey Gallo. Last inning, Mark Zipchinski pitched his way out of a big jam. Now it's Altavilla trying to do the same thing. Andrus, can he spoil it to 2-2? He cannot. The Rangers leave him loaded for the second inning in a row. It's been a day of long balls. Chu had one earlier, but Haniger answered in the third. We are tied going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Six, our score. Bottom of the 8th inning. Rangers will come home to take on the Kansas City Royals Saturday, April 22nd. A 7:05 game will fire up the grill. The first 15,000 fans, 14 and older, will be treated to a Rangers barbecue die-cut spatula, courtesy of Lynx. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Now Matt Bush on here in the last of the 8th inning to face Kyle Seager. And there's strike one.
You see the 3 games pitched so far for Matt Bush, the 1 long ball, but he has been solid on the swing and miss side. 5 strikeouts to just 1 walk. But it has been a week since he has last competed, so you do worry about that just a little bit for him. Any rustiness. He's throwing in between, but the sharpness of game competition sometimes can be a little tricky.
Dumps that one right in there. The count 0-2 on Seager. Now Bush becomes the 4th reliever used this afternoon by Jeff Bannister. Seager doubled in the 6th inning, 1 for 3 today. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3. So he's down on strikes to start the bottom of the 8th. And Bush looks pretty good coming right back.
Without a doubt, fastball was sharp right away coming at Kyle Seager. You see him here. Look at the run and the life on that ball. Now sometimes it's okay, well, it went too far, you didn't exactly hit your spot, but when you have that kind of extra life, it's okay. You're not going to have pinpoint accuracy all the time with that kind of fastball. Good pitch by Matt Bush.
Matt Bush has now struck out 6 of the last 10 batters he has faced. Here's Taylor Motter. And there's ball 1. Motter 0 for 2 today, but he did walk back in the 2nd inning. Now Bush could well be a real big lift to this Rangers bullpen. I think it's Motter to swing right through that one. They count 1-1. Hamels went 5 innings. Tony Barnett an inning in the 3rd. And then it was just batter by batter. Claudio and Robinson Cano, Jeremy Jeffress, got Nelson Cruz. Now Bush takes care of Seager, and his pitch to Motter in there for a strike. It's 1-2.
Testy here today for the Seattle fans, going back to that ground ball to Mike Napoli. They weren't happy about that. A couple other calls, and a little disappointed in that one as well.
1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts in the 8th inning for Matt Bush.
The fastball is live right now for Matt Bush. You see Jonathan Lucroy just sitting middle and saying, give me your best fastball right here. Let the movement take care of the work, and it did. Right by Motter.
So 2 gone, and here is Danny Valencia, who has a couple of hits today, including a double his last time up. Double in the 2nd, or rather 6th inning. Got the Mariners to within a run. And then it was Guillermo Heredia with a solo home run in the 7th. They're tied to 1-1 now on Valencia.
Good velocity here too from Matt Bush right out of the chute. That one 97, previous pitch at 98. Fastball is looking very good.
Infield back in the 1-1 pitch. Bouncer 3rd base, but foul. Mariners opened the series with a 2-8 record. They won Friday night, a 2-1 ball game. Well pitched by Felix Hernandez and then Martin Perez. Yesterday, shut the Rangers out 5-0 behind 8 shutout innings from Paxton. Bush to the plate, 1-2. And did he get him swinging? Yes, he did. Buckner rings him up, and the inning is over. And Matt Bush comes on and strikes out the side in order. Got Kyle Seager, Taylor Motter, and Danny Valencia. That gas is back, and we go to the 9th at a tie game. And Matt Bush, pretty impressive in that 8th inning.
Came out really strong in the fastball, had the good life. And for these Seattle Mariners hitters, just having no chance. You see one running away there from Kyle Seager. Motter blown away by the high fastball. Danny Valencia cannot check his swing on the high heater. And welcome back, Matt Bush. You were missed here in this Texas Rangers bullpen. And you see there 11 pitches, just one of them was an off-speed pitch sitting at an average of 97 miles an hour, just going right at guys.
So now Edwin Diaz, talk about guys with great velocity and live arms. He is on for Seattle in this 9th inning, but the heart of the order coming up, it's Mazara, Napoli, and Odor. Diaz making his 5th relief appearance of the season.
Yep, and he was very good in the outing that we saw him so far, and we mentioned it, this bullpen, which came into the series with a 7.71 ERA, one of the worst in Major League Baseball, has now thrown 7 2/3 shutout innings against this Rangers club with 9 strikeouts.
Now Mazara to lead it off, and he takes one low for a ball.
All right, let's everybody pay attention.
Outfield straight away. This one gets away from Diaz. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Mazara today 1 for 4, had the single, came in to score in the 3rd inning. And it was a 3rd inning the last time the Rangers scored in this game. They got 3 in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd. Bullpen's been shut down. Mazara lifts this one high in the air, deep out to right field. Haniger to the wall, and it is gone. A home run. And even Haniger couldn't get to that one. Mazara breaks the tie, gives the Rangers the lead in the 9th.
Wow, Nomar Mazara just absolutely continues to impress here this season for the Texas Rangers. Number 4 for him. And Diaz came in 95-96. That fastball at 94 miles an hour. That was the first one over the plate. And Nomar Mazara, I mean, looked like he got under it a little bit. And I started to get worried that that ball wasn't going to carry based on what we have seen so far. But it certainly did. He crushes that one. Quite the launch angle on that one, Dave.
Yeah, that was straight up there. So now Napoli, but he takes a strike.
I think Diaz is mad. He came back at 98 miles an hour on that one after the previous pitch was 94.
Oh, what a big home run by Nomar Mazara. Napoli hits this one high in the air. Not going to carry nearly as far as Valencia, and foul ground makes the catch. And there's one away.
You take a look at this now from Nomar Mazara, sitting on this 2-0 fastball, taking a big hack, was supposed to be away, finishes middle in. He knew he hit it hard, but I think these Rangers hitters have also seen what has happened to some of these fly balls, and as good as Mitch Haniger has been, nothing he can do about that one. Nice swing here from Nomar Mazara. That elbow come in. Great extension, strong follow through. Just at the right time. Nothing makes me happier than to say that 7 2/3 no runs from that pen, and let's go ahead and make it 8 innings, 1 very big run.
Yeah. So now Odor, and he takes it low for a ball. Sam Dyson readies himself in the Rangers bullpen. Right now, he'll be called upon to protect a 1-run lead, but it could be more by the time he comes in. This one tight on Odor, and it's 2-0.
Thought Sam Dyson looked really good last night. The fastball was strong. The velocity was good. That one fly ball that was hit decent. Looked better off the bat than it ended up actually being. It was an off-speed pitch. And the key for him is that fastball and getting it back to where it was, that good sinker. Especially bearing in on those righties. Now he'll have Ruiz, Martin, and Heredia in the 9th inning, so he's in a good spot in the lineup. 8-9-1. Though Heredia's had a pretty good day.
3-0 to Odor, and he's swinging. Pops this one up. Playable behind home plate. Ruiz is there.
mentioned, Sam Dyson, who will be due up. Obviously, those first 2 outs become pretty important, and they'll take a look, as they always do, as far as what the Mariners have on a bench. Not a lot there. Gerard Dyson, Mike Freeman, both left-handed hitters. Mike Zunino is the one right-handed hitter that is available on the bench.
That's a 1-run lead for the Rangers. Jonathan Lucroy takes ball 1. Boy, more gas from Edwin Diaz. That one at 97. And there you see it. 2 lefties and a righty on the bench. Not a lot there for Tim Bogart, and he has used a lot of his bullpen in this one. The 1-0 is fouled back.
I mentioned Diaz, and you've seen it here now, the fastball, but the strikeout prowess that he has. You go back to last year, we know Dylan Betances' strikeout machine, 15.5 per 9. Andrew Miller, Craig Kimbrell, Aroldis Chapman, of course. Edwin Diaz was actually second. He had the second highest strikeout rate amongst relievers last year in Major League Baseball. I know Ranger fans are familiar with him in this division. He is a very, very live arm.
Watch the ball, not the batter out.
He goes 2-1 on Lucroy. 2 home runs today for the Rangers. 3-run shot earlier by Chu. The solo shot by Mazara moments ago. Pitch to Lucroy, and it's inside. 3-1.
That off-speed pitch has not looked good. That slider kind of hanging to the arm side. He's not getting the sweep on it. Jonathan Lucroy has done a good job. That ball's almost never sees it as a strike. Diaz is trying to get it across and just has not been able to get it there.
Right-hander
Yeah!
fires it in there for strike 2. Lucroy thought otherwise. Omar Mazara. A big blow. And Diaz to the plate. This ball hit well out to right field, but Haniger circling to his right, and it ends the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Nomar Mazara has given the Rangers a chance to win it. 4th home run of the year for the 21-year-old. It's 7-6. Here he is, Sam Dyson on in the 9th inning. Rangers have taken the lead at the top of the inning with a home run by Nomar Mazara. It's going to be in the hands of Sam Dyson. Back out once again and try and lock down his first save of the year.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, he looked really good last night. We've heard Jeff Bannister talk about what they're looking for, what they've kind of figured out, what they think may have been the issue. A couple of different things, and some of it's a little bit harder to see with the naked eye, but the finish on the fastball is a big one. Throwing that pitch with conviction, really finishing it off. I've watched Jonathan Lucroy try to get Sam Dyson to throw more fastballs inside. He seemed like he's a little bit more comfortable going away or even using the changeup. So we'll see what kind of adjustments he's made.
Well, Gerard Dyson will pinch hit for Ruiz.
It's the first Dyson on Dyson matchup. He's never faced him before.
Pretty good numbers as a pinch hitter for Dyson. Corners are in a little bit. 2-0.
You see the movement. It has never been about the life on the fastball. That hasn't gone away. It's just a matter of Sam Dyson getting that pitch where he wants with a little bit more consistency.
And the 2-0 there is a strike.
And inside. That's the one. That's the one that they feel like has been missing, even the left-handed hitters. Tough pitch.
So he's worked on some mechanical tweaks. See if he can get right again. The 2-1. And there's a strike. It's 2-2.
He's a strike calling machine now.
He says my gate kind of swings open.
Yep.
And that's the best way he could describe it.
Front leg as you lift it up. You want to drive that front hip toward the glove.
The comebacker, and that one off his hand. Uh-oh. Two problems with that. It allows Dyson to reach, and now you have to be concerned about Dyson's hand.
Well, pitching coaches and managers can tell you all day long not to grab the ball with your bare hand, but it's just a natural reaction on a play like this where Sam Dyson wants to barehand this ball. Elvis Andrus comes in. He tries to barehand it, but even if he catches that clean, there should not have been a throw with Gerard Dyson running. I've actually watched his pitching coach, Doug Brocail, when he was a teammate of mine, do this quite a few times. Reach up and try to catch a ball barehanded. Very difficult thing to do. It wasn't hit hard. But unfortunately here now for Sam Dyson and the Rangers, Gerard Dyson has found a way to get himself on first base.
And he keeps looking at that index finger. Let's see how he fares here against Leonys Martin. Dyson with great speed over there at first.
Real quick to finish that point, because you mentioned it, swinging the gate. Think about this: you pick up your front leg instead of turning and driving the hip. Sometimes that leg will start to swing open, just like a gate would, and you don't get the really good momentum and direction toward home plate.
Dyson leaning a little bit from first. He's going. The pitch is down to the dirt. The throw to second is not in time. And the fourth stolen base of the year for Gerard Dyson.
So dangerous on the base pass. Not even a big lead. This guy just absolutely flies, and Jonathan Lucroy had no chance.
Nobody out. Excellent speed at second base. Again, the corners come in tight with Leonys Martin up there. He chokes up on the bat a little. And he's going to try and bunt, and does so, but foul. It's 1-1.
The way that this defense is set up right now, and with Gerard Dyson at second base, pretty much any bunt that gets down, there's going to be only the play at first. Gerard Dyson is going to be safe, and that is because Joey Gallo is playing in. It's also because Elvis Andrus is playing close to second base and trying to keep Gerard Dyson tight. Now, Elvis Andrus is now talking to Joey Gallo. We also see right there Mike Napoli talking to Gerard Dyson. They're talking about how they're going to try to defend this. Do they think they have any chance? Now, you see Elvis right there. He's actually showing how Joey Gallo how he wants him to stand. which is a little bit more of an open stance to the left so they can see what's going on with the base runner at second base. Like I said, I can't imagine a scenario in which a bunt gets down where Joey Gallo would actually get back fast enough, even if there was a play at third base.
So they are in again. Here comes a 1-1. Bunt, well placed. Nobody at third. Everybody's safe.
Pretty surprising that Sam Dyson thought there might have been a play at third base because Joey Gallo was playing in, because Elvis Andrus was not going to be covering third. There really wasn't going to be an opportunity to see him come over. Now his momentum took him that way, but based on the bunt, again, there was no way Joey Gallo was going to get back in time to cover third base. So the only play was going to be a first. Now I wondered if the conversations that happened between Mike Napoli, between Sam Dyson, very surprising in that scenario that he thought that they would have any chance of getting anybody out at third.
Jeff Bannister out there to, again, I think this comes back down to communication. You're talking about that play there, and I don't know if Sam's got a lot of things on his mind right now. You would understand. So maybe just a little extra clarity in the moment for Jeff Bannister.
Now, in general, that's a read play, right? If the ball is not bunted to the third baseman, he will go back to the bag and cover. But the third baseman is usually not playing as far in as Joey Gallo was in that situation as well. So that's why that play starts to differ a little bit than from your standard runner on second bunt situation.
All right, everybody in now. 7-6 Rangers lead. Dyson at third. Manos Martin is at first. He's running, and the pitch is low and outside. Stolen base for Martin. But that's a big base. A potential winning run now in scoring position. Mike Freeman takes it outside. 2-0 the count. Freeman pinch hitting here for Heredia, who had the big home run in the 7th inning to tie the game. Lucroy has just pointed him down to first. Says, nope, head down there. We're walking you. So an intentional walk now to Freeman. That loads it up. And with Sam Dyson's style, that makes sense. Now you have that force at every base, most importantly at the plate. And brings up the guy who's been the biggest pest in this series, Mitch Haniger. He had the 3-run homer back in the 3rd inning. And he has walked today. Two hits Friday, 2 hits on Saturday.
Good location. This is a good matchup for Sam Dyson. I know Mitch Haniger has been swinging a good bat. He started the season well, but the sinker, if well located from a right-handed pitcher, is a tough pitch for Haniger to handle.
Inside, that one almost got him. Ball 1. Sam Dyson trying to stare down this challenge from the Mariners. Bases loaded, nobody out. On with a 1-run lead. And it's 2-0. A tumultuous start to 2017 for Sam Dyson. 28-year-old right-hander readies, and there's a strike.
As much as we had talked about Jonathan Lucroy, Jeff Bannister wanting to see Sam Dyson bring that sinker in a little bit more to righties. That's actually where Haniger has been pretty good. That last one that he threw right there, the one that was away, may be the better pitch in this situation.
The 2-1. There's one bad one away from tying this game. There's no place to put Mitch Haniger. The chopper back up the middle, off of Dyson's hand. That allowed the first runner, Dyson, to reach. Martin with a bunt single and the walk to Freeman. 3-1 on the way. And this game is tied. What a rough turn of events this ninth inning has been. Nomar Mazara gave the Rangers the lead in the top of the ninth with a home run. And now the first four have reached and nobody has hit it out of the infield. The run is in, it's tied up, and Robinson Cano. Dyson's first pitch, and that's in tight.
Now, see, the first walk was partially intentional after Sam Dyson fell behind 2-0. The last one was not. So for Sam Dyson right now, it's just got to be making that commitment to contact, not trying to shoot corners, not trying to make the perfect pitch. Robinson Cano's a good hitter. We know that. That's the winning run. You just have, on third base, you just have to go after him. See what happens.
Spoiled off to the left side, 1-1 on Cano. Cano 1 for 4 in his career against Sam Dyson. And if there's ever a time to catch Robinson Cano, it might be now. He has not gotten off to a very good start, but he does have a hit today. Infield has been up on the edge of the grass almost the entire inning. And that's the one granted behind home plate. Dyson's 1-1, and it's fouled off. So he's ahead of Cano here. A ball and 2 strikes. Nelson Cruz waiting on deck, and oh boy, the heart churning, stomach churning for Jeff Bannister in that dugout.
And without a doubt, there's nothing you can do as a manager or a coach. You just prepare your guys the best that they can. You know, sometimes when they're struggling, you're rooting for them so hard. Obviously, rooting for your team. It brings a lot of anxiety for everybody in these situations.
And Dyson could use a strikeout here. His pitch to Cano, and he got him swinging. Foul tipped and trapped by Lucroy, so Cano stays alive. No argument from Lucroy.
You see this here, the ball is down. Boy, I tell you what.
Now, Jeff Bannister, meanwhile, is going to argue it.
And they want to talk about it. These are not the kind of plays that are reviewable, and so what Jeff Bannister is saying is, I didn't see any misdirection of the baseball. And this is a huge call at this moment in the game. This ball was down. If the umpire feels like he heard something, a lot of times as that ball, especially ball in the dirt, right, you hear it hit the dirt right near the bat, it's really difficult to get a read on it. I'm going to tell you what, I don't think that was a foul tip either.
Yeah, the only oddity to me is that Lucroy didn't seem to react much.
Yeah, and he, obviously at that point he's so focused on making sure he gets down, blocks that ball with the potential winning run at third base. That might have been a missed call. And like I said, not one that would ever be reviewed. And let's hope it doesn't turn out to be one that costs the Rangers.
I don't think Cano looked like he had given up, like he was on his way to the dugout. All right, another 1-2 pitch. And another great block back there by Lucroy.
It's so valuable. Jonathan Lucroy just continues to grind and get it done behind the plate. These big situations, so calm. When you think about, we're just sitting here, we're getting anxious watching this, and imagine being in the middle of the action. Jonathan Lucroy just level-headed, continuing to do a fantastic job behind the plate.
2-2 bouncer. Odor has it to the plate, 1, and they'll settle for it. Big force out of Leonis Martin. 1 away.
Nice job here by Sam Dyson. Good two-seam fastball away. Nice big one-hop to Rougned Odor. You always got to make sure, obviously, you got to get that one out. There may have been an opportunity for 2. The throw was a little bit high. Jonathan Lucroy not taking any chances. Just make sure you get that one out. Sometimes you'll get a guy try to rush that play a little bit too quickly. You missed the plate. And once he had to go airborne, he decided to come down, just get the one out.
Monto's trying to sail a little bit there on Odor. So now it's Freeman at third base, Haniger at second, Cano at first for Nelson Cruz. Tie game, bottom of the 9th. And a bouncer up the middle. Andrew smothered. And the flip to second. He can't get it done. This one is over. The Mariners walk it off and sweep this series. 8-7 our final score this afternoon. The loss is one thing, CJ, but right now the concern has to be Sam Dyson and his state of mind.
Without a doubt. And there were some bad breaks in this game. Not one ball left the infield. But yet it was a couple of walks, infield hits. His final infield hit here. It's a good pitch inside. That ball 10 feet to the left, even 2 feet to the left, and it's probably an inning-ending double play. But Elvis Andrus has to go full extension, and he knows that they got to turn this double play. So it's not about taking your time and getting one out, but it's trying to make this spectacular double play, and he ends up falling short. Excuse me.
Boy, just a tough finish to this one today. 8-7 our final score. Dana Larson, Mark McLemore, they will break down this 9th inning after the game here. We'll bring it back to the broadcast booth for a look ahead to Oakland. For CJ Nitkowski, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, this is Dave Raymond inviting you to stay with us. Our coverage of today's game continues right after this.
Give those away.